Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SpawnCast episode 232.
John, your mic's cutting in and out.
Sean, take it. 232.
Welcome to SpawnCast episode 232. John's having a little technical difficulty. Had a big week in the world of video game news. A lot of stuff to talk about. So we have our esteemed panel here. Nate, how's it going, Nate?
Not going that well right now. Watching the Yankees play the Mets. The Yankees are on a horrendous losing streak. After winning 13 straight, they are now 2-11. That's very disappointing because they are in a playoff hunt. But yesterday we had a great wrestling match between Edge and Seth Rollins. So that that's the one you went with, not Andrade versus Pac. Did you watch Andrade versus Pac? I didn't see that.
Oh my god, dude!
Watch it.
Edge versus Rollins was great. Andrade versus Pac was another level. That was one of the
wrestling already. We're like two minutes into the podcast.
Yeah, let's introduce me first.
Wave.
Yeah,
he did. Well, thank you, Sean, for filling in. Sean, how you doing?
Doing all right. Playing a little 2K22 right now.
I'm sorry.
No, it's a return to form, man. I'm having an absolute blast with this version. So much better than last year's.
Okay, you're playing on the Switch right now?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick up the Xbox Series X version in like a week or two. Okay. I just figured people would want to know about the Switch because, I mean, who buys NBA 2K 2022 on the Switch besides me?
I would say you do. We have our guest tonight, Mystic Ryan. I figured, Ryan, it made sense to have you on here because PlayStation had this big showcase. They finally woke up, so I was like, we got to get Ryan on again.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, looking forward to talking about all the stuff because Sony had some pretty good stuff there, especially towards the end. I figure we'll be going over all of that. We have Max, Dreamcast guy. How we doing, Max?
Hello. Happy to be here.
Good to have you here. We got Jordan Fringe.
Glad to be here. I played through Psychonauts 2 this week, and it was incredible. A lot of people kind of hyped it up for me before I played it, and it lived up to that hype. I think it's a great platformer. I think there's some really interesting ideas. One of the most visually impressive and interesting games I've played.
I thought you would like that game actually a lot. For some reason, I was playing it. I was like, I think Jordan will get a kick out of this.
If you're a fan of Invader Zim, there's a certain thing that you can get later on that I was like, that was an incredible decision, and it's a great experience overall.
Yep. All right, we got Evan.
Yep.
Evan, cool. And we got Miss Click. Miss Click stopped by for SpawnCast.
Yeah, you know, every once in a while. No, good to be here. I'm still a little depressed though because I finished Mass Effect 3. So.
Oh yeah, I saw that on Twitter. Yeah, that seemed.
I don't know what to do with my life, dude. It's only been like 4 months of my life.
Well, if you really want to cry, there's always Mass Effect Andromeda.
No.
Oh well.
But that's from start to finish.
I would skip that.
Now we got MVG.
What's going on? Great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Good to have MVG here. Okay, so we had the PlayStation Showcase. I also separated Insomniac because I want to ask some people a question about that, the Insomniac games now, because people on Twitter had some interesting takes on them after the showcase. Tales of Arise and Platinum Games said some stuff that was I guess interesting. I don't know. It was news, but it kind of wasn't news as well. So we'll talk about that. Did anyone else get Tales of Arise?
I did. I've only played a little bit because this week I had to beat Deathloop, but I did play a little bit of Tales of Arise, probably 3 hours in. It's pretty good.
So yeah, I'm about 5 hours in now, but let me tell you this. If this might be a game to pick up physically, if you can. I had to go to 4 stores around me and none of them had it.
Jeez.
Like they just apparently, like the GameStop near me apparently got 2 copies. That's it. So like it might be a good one to pick up, maybe even on the Xbox. Like that seems like a game where Bandai shipped like 4 copies for the Xbox total or something. But I am enjoying it, Max. The demo didn't really sell me as much on the game because it felt too complicated when I jumped into it because they had so many mechanics they threw at you, and I was like, I don't really. I mean, it looks good. It seems to play okay, but like they're slowly walking you through the mechanics in the beginning of this one, and I feel like I got a better grasp on the game. Visually, it looks very good. The story so far, it's straightforward. You know, they have basically these big bosses that they tell you about, and they're like, go off and lead the uprising against them. But of course, your character has amnesia because anime. So I don't know.
I like the voice acting. That was the one thing that kind of worried me is there was so little voice acting in the demo. So when I turned on the game and everything is voice acted so great and and it combines with the music so great, I was like, oh, thank God. Yeah.
Yep. From what I've heard, it's actually a fairly long game. I mean, Tales games tend to be long. From what I heard, this is like an 80 to 100 hour game to platinum. So it's probably like a 50 or 60 hour game to play through like once. So, but I do like the longer RPGs. Dragon Quest, so I was a big fan of that, and I do enjoy the Tales games. This just seems to be a very high quality Tales game, certainly geared towards the fans of these Tales series. So if you're interested in it, I like that they shifted over to Unreal Engine 4. And now I'm curious if whatever they do next, if this one sells well enough, they'll move on to Unreal Engine 5, I guess. But it did set a record for concurrent player count on Steam. It was like 45,000 people or something day one, and that is more than. You all right there, Sean?
I got fouled and they didn't call it.
Oh, okay. And that's more than all the Tales games combined in its first day. This one. So seems like they're in a good spot here with Tales of Arise. I recommend people check it out though, definitely. It's on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. So very good there. Let's go to a Discord question, Evan. You got a Discord question there?
Yeah, we can go with President Yamauchi once said that PlayStation fans prefer depressing games and being alone. Was he right?
I mean, not wrong. Look at their highest selling games are ones where you have to like strangle a dog.
I mean, yeah, Last of Us 2 it does sell well. Oh man,
what a statement!
I mean, technically, he's not
That
wrong.
says the guy that only makes car games.
Yeah,
Right.
and they sell like crap because you don't cry in the car. So it's not worth it.
And one bike game. Taurus Trophy on PS2. That's all he did.
I don't know. I mean, there were some points in Psychonauts, Jordan, where it got kind of sad, and I was like, "This game's good." So maybe he's onto something.
It got kind of deep, and you're like, "Oh, all right."
Yeah. So maybe maybe onto something. I think there's a place for both, though. You can have some really fun and exciting games, and there's just games where you just shoot stuff, and there's games where it makes you think really hard about things. So nice mix of all of that. So we have another Discord question, Evan?
How old were you when you got your first gaming device?
4.
And did your parents regret it as well? Would be a.
I think it was either 4 or 5. It's the NES, so
Yes,
4 or 5. I guess. No, they didn't seem to care. It was either that or watching TV, Power Rangers, so whatever. Here's the NES. You got another one there, Evan? Another Discord question?
Someone was looking to get the new WarioWare game and then I guess an upcoming Pokemon one, but he's asking if he could only get one of those two titles. Which should he be looking for?
Which Pokemon game? Pearl, the new Diamond and Pearl remake?
I believe so. Yeah, and that's all he says is Pokemon.
Is he picking between which version, or is he picking between that, or waiting for? RTS?
I think he's picking between Pokemon and WarioWare, and he's asking for the reason to pick one over the other.
Well, WarioWare will last you a few hours.
Yeah, you're gonna get a lot of time out of Pokemon. I just started WarioWare last night. I think I'm almost done with it.
The games he's currently playing the most is some of the older Metroids, Monkey Ball, and Mario Party right now.
Oh, you got Monkey Ball coming up soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean Pokemon. I'm gonna default to Pokemon because you're gonna get the most time out of that for the money.
I'd agree. Yeah.
Is what I'll say. So. Okay, let's go to the PlayStation Showcase. That was the big news for the week. A lot of stuff in here. I separated some of it, honestly, because PlayStation Blog even separated some of it. They decided to take Insomniac and just put it on its own page there, basically. But it started off, it's about a little over 40 minutes, like 42 minutes, I think is what I had it timed at. But there was quite a bit of stuff in here. It had some kind of quiet points, some low points, and then it had definitely some big high points. The last 10 minutes was like what everyone I feel like for the most part showed up for. I mean, we had some good ones in there, but like the last 10 minutes, it was just like, all right, here's all the PlayStation stuff you came here for, which worked out probably for some of the smaller games that at least had people kind of hang out for them. But we had their opening trailer. They talked about Gran Turismo 7. That's coming out March 4th. That's on PS4 and PS5. Is that sooner than anyone? Like I didn't think it was going to come out that soon. I thought this was going to be later in 2021. I thought it was going to be near like end of summer.
No, it's about on time. As they said, they originally wanted the game out this year.
That's true.
And they announced the delay this spring. So they knew they weren't going to make this year very early on. And the fact that they were targeting this year originally, they had to push it we don't know if they may be looking for this year, like September. I believe the original trailer had it for first half of 2021.
Yeah.
So they probably took a nice 6-month, 8-month delay. So they're right around schedule if they kept to that original timeline.
Pleasantly surprised with this.
I want to counter you, Nate, on that, because it's easy to say that now, but remember when they initially announced Gran Turismo 7, it was a PS5 exclusive.
Yep.
We were like, this game is coming out in 2022. There's no way. But then when we did find out later that it was PS4, I think the topic had shifted to, well, maybe it is going to come out in 2022, but we kind of felt like it was going to be later on next year. Because for me, March is probably the biggest surprise of the whole show, that Gran Turismo 7 is actually shipping in March next year, because that's a lot sooner than I really expected it to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good on Sony that they got the game in this fiscal year for them. Because yes, you missed a calendar year, but you're still getting in a major release to end their fiscal year. So they're going to end on a high note. And to have Gran Turismo 7 this early in a console's life is something we really haven't seen probably since the PlayStation 2. Because
this is the point I brought up a few times. This is the earliest we're getting a Gran Turismo in 2 generations.
Yeah, yes. It's very surprising.
Because PS3 we had GT5 Prologue, and we had to wait 2 years until GT5 actually came out. And then we got GT6 at the end of the PlayStation 3 life cycle, right at the time the PlayStation 4 was coming out.
Came out December, like the month after the PS4 came out. It was really weird because everyone's like, oh, Gran Turismo. Wait, the PS4 is not backwards compatible. That kind of sucked.
I mean, and Sony definitely made it a highlight of, I'll say, the first half of the show, because they showed a very long gameplay demonstration.
Yeah. They really focused on that single player part. That was a big sticking point for people with sport. And sport was all right. I mean, visually it looked great. VR was kind of cool. I don't know, but like everyone was still like, when's Gran Turismo 7 coming out? When is this? And then we realized, it's going to be a long time. So that's why I said pleasantly surprised with this. I'm very happy. But you guys try to crush my dreams with this thing, but it is actually coming out pretty soon. So
hopefully it's not hit with a very late delay. Like Grand Theft Auto 5 just got hit with a delay 2 months before it was supposed to come out.
Right.
Hold on.
It's ancient history now.
It's 2021, and we're talking about Grand Theft Auto 5 getting delayed.
Yes.
Yeah. This game was dated a while ago, and Rockstar very rarely delays their game.
And this thing was dated in what, 2012? 2013?
They're too busy sending cease and desist to GTA 3 modders right now. Worried about Gran Turismo 5. So
and counting their money. Gosh. Yep. You know, they used to, I promise all of you younger people out there, they used to release games all the time. Rockstar was every year almost they were releasing something.
Okay, Grandpa, let's get you back to bed.
Yeah, the meme where it's the old lady on the walker. GTA used to come out every 2 years.
They did. So yeah, very happy about Gran Turismo 7. They showed Deathloop again. Who in the boardroom was like, you know what? We need more Deathloop.
Let's do it again.
I know about Deathloop.
The only reason I could think of is because it's the big, quote unquote, big holiday game. So it's like they kind of are forced to. But yeah, I'm so sick of that game.
Spencer showed up and they were like, "You guys gotta show Deathloop, all right?"
You know what my favorite caption was? Because I joked around. I was like, if they show Deathloop again, I'm ending stream. Which they of course did, and of course I didn't go through with it. But my favorite comment that people were leaving is like, actually, this is the Deathloop, and by the time you get the game, the credits roll. Like that's it. I'm like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Like I'm kind of sick of it already. I mean, the game looks cool, but also at the same time, like part of me is just like, I don't want to play it just because I hated your marketing, but also I want to play it really bad.
It's Arcane.
It was annoying.
I want to say something weird. I think all the trailers are kind of misleading about the game. Now that I've beaten
good.
I think all the trailers are kind of misleading. Nate will agree. Nate, that's
I like the sound of that.
I will agree with that. I think
a good way or a bad way?
The trailers are not selling the concept of the game well at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
But is that good?
I'm interested.
Is that good or bad though?
It is a much tighter. I'll say one thing about it that Nate can definitely agree. I know. I'm allowed to say general stuff about it. The gunplay is surprisingly tight. It's basically a first-person shooter with like items, and the time loop is just like some extra painting on it. It's and the trailers make it look like this weird, sneaky, interactive movie almost. Yeah, it's not like that. It's just a first-person shooter with really tight controls.
Cool.
Okay. Oh, all right, cool. I'll check that out on Tuesday when it comes out. They showed a game called Blood Hunt. You have to say that kind of slow. Blood Hunt.
Well, wasn't that the Xbox ending?
No, that's another Vampire Masquerade game.
Yeah, yes. The ending game that Xbox did was called Redfall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never really got into the Vampire Masquerade series. I don't know as much about it.
Isn't this like the third thing they've announced without putting out the second one?
Yeah.
Vampire Masquerade 2.
They're most likely asset swapping to try to get something out to try to gain money since
they've got like 3. This is the third thing they've announced so far, and none of this stuff is out.
If I recall, didn't they fire the whole like executive team that was working on it got fired or something?
Oh my gosh.
They didn't do it. So that's like what's happening is the whole like they're having to basically restart a bunch for Masquerade 2. So this is their way of getting money in the meantime.
Jeez.
I'm watching the trailer. I'm like, is this Vampire Masquerade? Like this is the third. This is the third thing they've announced, and none of it's out.
Holy shit!
Then we have Ghostwire Tokyo.
I don't understand. What is the gameplay? I like what it looks like. I like that.
It looks cool.
It keeps looking. It keeps looking like BioShock above the water. Like that's what it's starting to feel like.
Shinji Mikami.
I mean, shooting with my fingers,
like in BioShock with the bees out of your hand. Yeah. Yes.
In the opening thing, because I rewatched the trailer 4 or 5 times, it looks like he's gonna have some sort of like soul cannon kind of thing, and he's gonna Kamehameha people. And it looks like there's gonna be some sort of like energy system. So sometimes you'll have to run past people, and sometimes you can fight.
Dude, it looks cool.
I'm more bored. I do wish it was third person. I liked Evil Within 1 and 2 a lot, and this is by the same studio. And I thought they did spatial awareness really good. I'm still trying to just get used to the first person of it.
Okay. I don't know. It looks different. That's probably one of the more interesting things. It doesn't look like everything else around it. So I like what I'm seeing there so far. But yeah, like Sean said, I think a lot of people are still just trying to figure out what's going on with this game exactly. Like, what is it?
Shinji Mikami. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, I guess so. Wait,
holy shit! How many accounts does this fucking guy have? Holy fuck! Go get laid, dude. Go get a hooker or something.
I'm not even looking at
Oh my god! Look, he's back again.
I'm working on it.
Telling him back already.
I'm not.
He's not telling.
I'm working on it.
He's not telling.
He's about to get banned.
No, he's. It's happening. It's fine.
Let's see if he comes back.
Oh my god, dude.
My God.
Sorry. This is tripping me out, man.
I'm impressed someone can hate PS5 this much. Saturday night, this dude could be walking outside or touching grass, and instead he's spamming about the PlayStation 5.
I don't even want to think about how bad he smells.
Yeah.
This is one for Max. Alan Wake Remastered. We got.
What do you mean for Max? What about me? I love Alan Wake.
Okay, NMVG. Awesome. There you go.
I'm down to replay it.
No.
Did it really look like a remaster though?
So go to the official website, go to alanwake.com. The main thing is the character models. Like the environments themselves look about the same, but if you look at the character models, they completely redid how characters look. So I mean, I'm happy with it. Okay. Also, it's all the DLC. The DLC, the thing that sucks about Alan Wake back in the day is that the DLC is the actual ending of it. You had to pay money for the actual ending.
Yeah.
Now it's all packaged together at least.
What do you think, MVG? How's that looking?
I kind of agree with RGT that maybe it doesn't look as I guess it doesn't pop as much as I thought, but I'm still going to check it out. First time on PlayStation as well, so that's definitely a milestone. You know?
Yeah, definitely. You think we're building up to the Alan Wake too, right?
I think so, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's always been these rumors that like Remedy wants Sony to buy them and stuff. So I don't know. Maybe this is just another one of those things that they're trying to do. We'll see.
It could be. And then we had, all right, so once again, someone at the board meeting decided it was time for Rainbow Six Extraction to get another advertisement. And then we had Forspoken shown. Forspoken looks good. Looks very good. They keep showing it. I'm just like, wow, this game looks super impressive. Like visually looks good. The traversal looks very good too. You don't think so? When they show that
visually, yes, it looks good, but this looks like the typical Western Square Enix RPG. The dialogue is dreadful. That was some of the worst spoken dialogue I've ever heard in a game. It rivaled chaos from the Square show in June.
What game are we talking about?
Forspoken.
I love it.
Oh no, I liked it. I liked it. I thought it was cool how they explained the backstory to make it like, why is this chick kind of like acting modern? Oh, because it is modern. She's in New York and wants to escape and goes through some portal or something. I like it. I liked everything I saw from that game.
It looks like Infamous in medieval times.
Yeah, Gary Whitta writing and like Amy Henning, the like inventor of Uncharted, is directing.
I know Gary Gnu.
There's a lot of people. Gary Whitta, Amy Henning, Allison Reimer.
That's nuts.
It's Kurt Henning's mom.
I will agree on the dialogue though with Nate. I did think the dialogue was kind of in the trailer, but the game itself looks interesting, and I think that'll be what'll draw me. And I can get through some bad dialogue for good gameplay. This is
one of those games that looks next gen as well. Like you look at it and you're like, okay, yeah, that I see it. Okay, that's the next gen game right there. Okay, but I think they have to like they keep showing us flashes of gameplay. I think they actually have to sit down and just show gameplay with this thing.
I think strategy though lately is, if they're not going to show just a CG trailer, it's CG mixed with gameplay, and then they do a separate gameplay focus at a completely different time because they want to keep that pace going. But I think that and Project Eve, like honestly, like it was like back to back, super interesting right from the get go. I want to play both of those games.
Yeah, let's go to Project Eve because they were this actually had a pretty good, like a good chunk of gameplay kind of thrown in there with the sun. That game looks really fun. Like from what they showed there, the action, some of the some of the quick time events.
Did you see what people are calling it? They're calling it Playonetta.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's great.
Isn't it a multi-plat though?
It was announced 2 years ago. Like it's
like a multi-plat. So
was it?
I'm pretty sure. I'm like 90% sure it's a multi-plat.
Yeah, honestly, anything they don't explicitly say is exclusive, I feel like it's multi-plat. I got that vibe from that.
I mean, what was that timed exclusive then?
You think PC and PS5? Because it just says we're not ready to announce when Project Eve will release on PS5, but we'll keep you updated. Is all it says on the blog post.
Project Eve was originally announced as a PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows game.
Yep.
There you go. There you go. I thought we had seen this before. That's why I showed. I was like, I feel like this is something we knew about, but like obviously
I must have missed it because when it literally the first like 2 seconds, I was like Bayonetta, and then I was like, wait a minute, this isn't Bayonetta. Yeah. But I like it because it is like Bayonetta, minus that energy. Bayonetta. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mixed with Nier almost, like the setting and the world. It was like Bayonetta meets Nier. I'm very cool, very excited.
It's inspired by Nier. That's what their inspiration is based upon.
Okay.
But like the acrobatics, the moves, the way some of the characters or some of the enemies look, they look like the angels from Bayonetta too. It's like it's a really cool mashup in my opinion, even if it's not intentional.
And then we did have Jordan, this is for you, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. What'd you think of that gameplay as the big Borderlands fan? What we're thinking here.
I mean, it's more Borderlands. It's kind of funny that they're separating it and making it its own game because at the end of the day, it's just more of Borderlands from that specific DLC.
I thought it was gonna be different because they showed it and I was like, that just looks like Borderlands to me. Like,
it's still medieval. Yeah, it's taking more of the DLC from the second game that was really popular that people wanted a sequel DLC to or more of. So they just turned it into its own game to bring more interest. Kind of Borderlands 3 kind of brought down a lot of hype on Borderlands for a lot of people. And I think this was a way to get people somewhat more excited to bring that crowd back because this was like a big high point in Borderlands was that DLC. So, the game, I think the coolest thing to me, I know they have like a large like voice acting cast in it that they announced last time when they initially showed it, which was cool, but showing off the really cool enemies that you're going to see in this, Fantasyland, that's what got me more excited. I thought the creature designs looked really, really cool.
Let me ask you this, Ryan, because there's an announcement here. Let me know if this surprised you, because obviously you're keeping an eye on PlayStation and everything. You're tracking all the stuff they're doing. Knights of the Old Republic remake. Like, did that one catch you off guard when they announced it?
It only, I guess to a degree. I mean, I'm not even a Star Wars guy, so I was like watching it going, I don't care, but I understand just how big of a deal this is because like That's
Gotcha.
It's got that strong Xbox association.
Yes, I'll tell you, it's a big deal. When they showed that, I was like, okay, we had heard that it was going to happen, and we had heard that Aspire was working on it. And when I heard when they said that, I was like, oh, Aspire, they do the remasters, and
I feel like it's a very big project for Aspire.
Well, here's the deal. Apparently, they're getting some help on this from, like, they brought in original developers from Knights of the Old Republic when it was first being worked on. Like, they have been hiring a lot of people building out for this. This is something I think we're way off of, but like the fact that I guess Sony locked up a timed exclusive for it.
Yes.
I mean, that's a big deal because that's something that, like Ryan says, I mean, I even like look at it and go, oh yeah, that's an Xbox thing, because that's where a lot of people played it back in the day, or even on PC through Windows and all of this. And now it's like, oh, okay, so I'll be playing that, I guess, on PlayStation when that releases, because that's a big deal. I almost wonder how much they're going to remake of this thing. Like,
and that's what I want to ask is, do y'all think because previous Aspire projects have been pretty tiny. They've been hardly even getting graphical upgrades with some of their ports and stuff. I'm kind of afraid that this is just going to be, update the controls a little bit, make the assets look a little bit better. But I think I'm curious to see how much of a remaster versus how much of a remake, because they hired a new writer, so it sounds like they're going to be redoing the dialogue. Who knows how much?
That's where I get a little concerned, because I'm like, this is a game that people hold up as like legendary status. So if they start just kind of messing with things, I feel like there's going to be some backlash almost to that.
The term remake has been in more recent years kind of a loose term. It's not more of the one for one like it kind of used to be. Now it's more of the, all right, it's going to be the same, but we're changing a lot. Like, look, Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy.
So many examples now with the word like remaster. You're getting the same game. It just looks a little bit better. Remake is, you don't know what that means anymore. This could be a completely different game by the end of the day.
Yeah.
But obviously, that was surprised. I didn't follow up any like rumors on that or anything. I had no idea that was even a thing in the works. I know it was something we all kind of hoped for, but knowing that it was just that little tiny, CGI, I don't even want to call it a trailer, like a teaser. It's very far off. I don't think we've seen this game.
I think Matty Play's been talking about this remake for like 2 years, and it finally happened. So he was probably ecstatic.
Well, 2 years ago, Kathleen Kennedy said that EA was actively looking into making a new Knights of the Old Republic, or even taking the first two games and merging them into one experience. So EA was shopping this idea around. So it's actually curious that EA has no involvement in this project whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, I guess they were busy with, doing Battlefront loot boxes and stuff. I don't know. They missed out. I think it's gonna be hopefully a good game. We'll see how that goes. Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collections coming to PS5 and PC.
Called it.
I butchered that in my fucking video.
I know, the whole comment section's only about that.
When did you call that? That was in the investor relations meeting.
Oh,
it was in the investor relations meeting. It was in Sony's slide. In Sony's slide, it said upcoming PC releases, and it put Uncharted 4 in there. So, however, we didn't know about Lost Legacy.
So when they announced this on stream, I started laughing really hard, because what have I been saying for a while, so long now? They are going to eventually do a day and date release for a new game, and in order to get there, they have to eventually work to where kind of people are kind of used to it. They just dropped PC and PlayStation 5 right next to each other on their PlayStation showcase. And I'm like, there, all right, that's the next step to get there. I think it's going to be a live service game that they're going to attempt. I don't think it's going to be a new Uncharted or a new Last or anything like that. But like, if they ever brought back SOCOM, I don't know. They might be like, PS5, it's PC. Maybe it's free to play. We'll see what happens. But I think they are just working. It makes sense. My question though is this a $70 game?
No way. No, if this is over 40 bucks, I don't like these games. Or come on, isn't Uncharted 4 one of the highest selling PS4 games ever or something?
How much can you buy Uncharted for on the store?
$9.
I don't know, but if I had a green screen like Sean, Jim Ryan, I'd switch it so Jim Ryan's behind me right now.
I bought Uncharted 4 like in 2017 at a con for $10.
It's part of the PlayStation Plus collection.
I was gonna say, you get it on
$49.99.
Yeah, I'd say 50.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
$49.99. And No free upgrades.
Oh,
no.
Yeah, that tracks.
Honestly, I enjoyed Uncharted 4, but I wouldn't rebuy it.
Yeah,
that was alright. I mean, you could just download it now. I mean, they'd have to do some substantial updates.
They have to do a lot to make it worthwhile because it's a fun experience to go through. But I wouldn't rebuy that game. They would have to add something substantial to really get me to reinvest.
I mean, I already had you can play Lost. You can play that through backwards compatibility. You can play 4. Just download it on PlayStation Plus Collection. So this is clearly for PC.
Thing. That 30. Game painfully still stuck at 30. Yeah.
Yep. You're getting 60
still capped.
Oh, that's right.
It's like you can either get the free update, so it's still through back compat, but you get 60, or you get this full either a director's cut or just a legacy collection, and that's where you'll get your precious 60. That's where they'll put it.
They're gonna do eventually. They're gonna do Bloodborne remastered, and it's just gonna be 60 FPS and nothing else, and we're all gonna pay $50 like chumps.
Oh, everyone's buying that.
Easy.
They could easily price that at $79.99.
Yep. I'll buy the collector's edition, whatever it is. Yeah.
No upgrade, and then when you start it, there's like a surcharge of $1.99, and people will do it.
Every time you turn it on, it spits in your mouth, and you're like, "Wow, it's the price I paid for Bloodborne."
I need to find out more, but it did sound like it's coming to PS5 first and then PC like a month or two later, kind of how they worded it. But
Iron Galaxy's doing the PC release.
Oh, okay, yeah, that should
Naughty
go
Dog's
well,
in-house for the PS5 version.
I hope they do some cool stuff with the DualSense. I feel like for some of these, we especially with third parties, we just don't get the full extent of the DualSense. So like whenever we hear about even older games coming up, I'm like, okay, cool. What can they do with that? So I'm hoping they have some cool ideas for Uncharted here. And we had a longer look in general at God of War Ragnarok. It is called God of War Ragnarok. That is the actual name for it. That is something that apparently they used a fan render for for investors. It was strange. Anyway, it's called God of War Ragnarok. Yeah. They showed it. People seemed divided on this. I was a little surprised. I looked at it and I was like, yeah, it looks like God of War. Cool. Looks good to me. I was kind of moved on. And maybe it didn't have that punch that it originally had when they first showed it.
What?
You can clearly see its cross-gen roots.
Yeah. But
yeah, you clearly didn't see they reused all the same assets from the last game.
Same exact game.
Hey, he jumps on the canoe the same way. This is a problem.
Oh my God.
So
this is a big deal, guys.
Ragnarok clearly started development at the end, or after God of War 2018. They started working on this game soon after, because I mean it looks like a PS4 game, but it's the best looking PS4 game that you're ever going to play because it's just beautiful. I mean, it looks amazing. So there's really nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But I think why it's a little bit divided, and I personally think it looks awesome. I'm all in on it, but I know there's been some criticism that maybe it's not really, the sequel as far as technical stuff that's in the game that it should be. It just looks like more of the same, which again I'm completely on board with, but I think some people may have expected more from this game, and we're getting, I guess, just another story, right?
A lot of us just want the story. We want what's happening next. That's what we really want.
The whole point at this issue, like the fact that they even mentioned Tyr, we're gonna get to see Tyr. We do see Tyr in the trailer. I kind of wish they hadn't shown him.
Yeah,
I wish they hadn't shown him yet, personally. But like the dog sledding, sledding itself looks really cool. The fact we're getting these returning characters, like people are like, oh, it just looks more of the same. Good. I mean, like good. Like, would you want? I mean, there are other God of War, like the first ones, they're not too incredibly different either. I mean, do you want a jump button? Is that why you're still really upset? Because I hate to break it to you, maybe you should just give up on that. Maybe they'll add a jump button eventually, but like, hey, we get dog sledding. Like, I can't even imagine the amount of work that goes into the dog sledding mechanics, and like the fact that we get to see Freya and how Freya is going to be. I was curious if they were even going to mention her, but the fact that she says, I will rain every violation on you. Like, I cannot wait to see how Freya violates me. You know what I mean? Like,
that was so hype when Freya shows up.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
I was so happy. Yeah. I was like, oh, she's pissed.
I was interested in the fact that they definitively, afterwards, I believe they said this, we're talking about that this is the end to the Norse the saga. Yep. So it's only going to be 2 games for that, and then they're jumping into the next area. I mean, I would love to see the Egyptian.
Same Egyptians I want most. Yeah.
I'm hoping that that's the next, but I think that's cool. Instead of making it, to keep taking. If they think that this is where the course ends with it, and they don't want to drag it out any further, I think that's good. Know where to end.
He's gonna kill everyone. He's gonna move on.
Does Kratos die at the end of this?
I don't
kill him off.
That's the famous God of War 3 question.
You know what they should do? They should have Atreus kill him.
So I think
Atreus is gonna die.
I think Atreus. I think at the end of this, I think Atreus is going to be playable. About halfway through the game, I think they're going to start to make it where you can swap through, and then I think it's going to be like
that's the mechanic
where you're going to be able to play as him for certain missions. And I have a feeling then the game after that, you'll get to choose every individual. You can choose to play the whole game as Atreus.
Yeah, I mean, there was that prophecy. I mean, written on the wall. It was literally on the wall. So, like, whether they choose like that prophecy comes to fruition within the Norse mythology, or if that like maybe they think they defy it and it ends up happening anyway, like later on, like it's literally the whole story of the first God of War. It's like, I don't want him to go yet, but also at the same time, like there has to be some serious character development and initiation for the player to want to like keep playing as Atreus.
They could do the Last of Us route.
Just force you to do it.
Just get it over with, like in the first 5 minutes. Just like, all right, now you play as Atreus. Have fun.
If Atreus was at a golf club, I'm smashing my PS5.
That whole trailer is the first hour of the game, then it's Atreus all the way through.
Metal Gear Solid style.
There are some parts of the game that still look visually impressive. Like if you go into the part, the problem is we're looking at this through a stream as well. It's like 1080p, but when they go into like some of the towns and they look around, there's a lot of detail going on there. There's a lot of like there's a lot of small things happening in those towns. So I think there's a lot more of the game they still need to show, but I'm on board. God of War Ragnarok looks good. I don't think we're ever going to get that same, I don't think they were going to be able to give us that same punch they gave us when they first showed God of War 2018, and it was just completely different.
How do you you can't like reboot on top of a reboot. Like you're going to continue the successful strategy. The whole point of God of War being such a big deal was it was so drastically evolved from what it had been. Not that the past was bad, it's just it's changed, it's new, and it's revitalized. Like this is what makes it cool, is we're taking the successful model. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, just build upon it. And the story is the main, the meat and potatoes of this series now, is learning, still kind of what Faye had in mind, what they knew that she did it, and the new character that she's the last living giant. Like the fact that she even might know things that we don't, and how that continues on. It's just such a the lore that they're making, the fact that people are upset about Thor, people fighting about Thor, dude.
I want to bring that up. So hot take, I know most people are on board with it. I do think Fat Thor is a little bit funky looking. I'll die on a hill. I think he looks a little bit funny.
I think Marvel kind of ruined Thor's image for people.
I was just surprised they just outright showed us Thor, because they keep building up Thor, and then you see his hammer in the trailer, and I'm like, okay, that's a good teaser. You hear his voice, you see the hammer, and then all right, here's a picture of him. I was like, all right, no, you built up to be like a
feel about Waffle House.
I will say though,
you know what I can't unsee? Oh, sorry. What I can't unsee is the new Thor. Somebody mocked up a picture and said the only actual criticism is that there was no belly hair for such a big burly guy.
Yep.
He's got a clean and now since I saw that picture, I'm like, yeah, we got to get this guy some hair. Now I can't unsee it.
Yep.
It looks way better if he's he's got to be hairy.
If he had tattoos or something on his stomach, maybe I could see it, but it is very bare. If they made him super hairy, but they literally describe him in the beginning, in the first God of, in the reboot, is that he was a drunkard, he was a big boy, no one liked him, no one likes Odin, and they didn't even allude to Odin not being the way that I think Odin's also gonna upset people, because they also talked about he's just kind of an old man that kind of wanders around. He's not living in a castle. He's kind of doing whatever he wants. They're taking the different version, but this is going to also piss people off too. Some people were saying, wow, why are they making the Norse gods seem like egotistical jerks? And it's like, well, spoiler alert, they kind of were. I hate the fact that Marvel's ruined it for you, but
the entire plot of God of War is how they're all jerks and you're the guy that gets to kick their ass.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the whole plot.
Yeah.
across 8 games.
Yeah.
Thor's gonna mess some people up.
I think it will. Happen. I think it's just the culture shock is what it is to me right now. I think it's that I don't think I've ever seen a character that's, because I watched World's Strongest Man and he does look identical. I actually think it's based off the current World's Strongest Man. But it's still just shocking to me. I'm like, oh, okay, well, we're actually doing this. All right.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be too on the nose if it was like just Chris Hemsworth kind of.
Yeah.
You know? I feel it'd be like, I guess. But like, I don't know. I kind of like the different kind of approach they're taking with it for that, compared to what everyone would expect.
I just wanted to quickly go back to the point, the Spawn and Click about like the hype that was there, like with the original in 2018. You know, with that, like the hype building up to that. I think with this game, because you're kind of expecting more of it, it's not as like impactful as that first announcement and that show off. Like, whoa, what is this? I think when we get to whatever that next game is going to be, when they go to a different place, I think whatever they reveal what that place is and what's changed, that's going to get that next like big hype. And I
agree.
You know, if you've played the game, there's a bunch of different options coming up, and it gives, you know, God of War potentially a long life. So
you know, they hinted a long time ago in the last PS2 game of him eventually killing Jesus. There's like a little bit of Christian imagery. I want to see him fight Jesus.
Fight Mother Mary herself.
Yeah, suplexing Mother Mary.
Oh my god!
Yeah, how much of a shitstorm that would be for like media that's outside of games.
It'd probably help it sell a lot more.
Simulator lets you kill Jesus.
I'm gonna hate buy 5 copies.
He's out here wrestling the devil, man. Like,
in front of the box just says "Kill God" in all caps.
Okay, so the big hype announcements were definitely Spider-Man 2 and Marvel's Wolverine. Did anyone expect that we were going to come out the other side of the showcase?
That was
about Wolverine.
The biggest fake out I've ever seen. It was like, all right, Marvel, it's going to be Spider-Man, and it's like, oh, it's not. It's Wolverine. Okay, guess no Spider-Man. Let's talk about a different game. Then after that next game, like, nah, just kidding. Here's Spider-Man 2.
No, but did you not? You saw that Spider-Man trailer starting up. Tell me you didn't think that was infamous for a minute.
The electric hit on the post.
Dude, I sat there. Infamous. I sat there, I said, oh, they're really going to actually do it. That 10%'s coming true. And then I saw Spider-Man. I was like, still excited, though.
Yeah.
Not infamous, but I'll take it. I'll take some Spider-Man.
Yeah, I thought it was infamous immediately. I was like, oh, cool. All right. But I mean, I didn't expect to see Spider-Man after just seeing Wolverine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you saying, Ryan?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's just that was like the Returnal PT like psych out with walking close to the door.
Yep.
Everyone said it looks just like Silent Hill, and it's Returnal.
Okay, which one do we start with? Spider-Man 2 or Wolverine? Which one to start with?
It's more to talk about on one more than the other. You know, we have no idea what Wolverine is aside from.
Well, with Wolverine, was that the hype moment of the showcase?
It was a surprise.
When the calls came out, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was that last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It was PS Studio. It was the whole back half of not even back half. The third of the show.
Yeah.
For a second, I thought it was going to be a Punisher game because it reminds me of, you know, like you think of Frank, you know, in the bar and stuff, and he's always getting into bar fights too. But then you start focusing on how beat up his hands really are, and he's not wearing gloves, and you see the arm hair. You're like, stop.
In a lot of
you cannot tell me.
Oh, in a lot of the Wolverine introductions, like that's it. He's in a bar, he's wearing the cowboy hat, and it's always that. Like I've read so many comics with it.
Yeah, his video games are so good though. Like even back when it was, I think they were still with Activision. They were doing the Wolverine games, like the Wolverine Origins. Wolverine
is very good.
Even in the Legends games, like that was fun combat. But when it like put 2 and 2 together of Wolverine plus Insomniac combat, like I can't wait for these animations, like these finishing moves, the abilities they're gonna give him. Like it's just the costumes.
Here's my big question.
Yep.
Is this going to be rated M?
I was about to say it's going to be M-rated. It has to be, right?
It has to be. Because I'm with Marvel, they could be like, oh no, because we're gonna bring him into the MCU eventually. Let's keep it T-rated. I mean, he's gonna rip people to shreds. Like a couple bits of blood here on his knuckles, no problem. But he's gonna He's gonna rip people up.
I don't know, man. He could be fighting mostly robots. You don't know. You don't know what's about to happen.
Come on. I don't want that.
My thought is, are we going to start to see the Insomniac verse? Are they going to start making a bunch of their own games and do a bunch of Marvel and start merging them together?
I hope so. Honestly, like PS4 Spider-Man, I think is my favorite Spider-Man. Like I just kind of like, even though I appreciate Holland and Maguire and Garfield for their own different like what they bring to the table. Like PS4 to me is like, granted, he's a mix of real and not real, so like it's kind of more customizable to how the character is. Like it's gonna be weird seeing not a Hugh Jackman, even though the video games weren't based on Hugh Jackman really necessarily. Like it's gonna be weird not seeing or hearing him, but I'm ready for like this to be like, I feel like this is like the next best solution to picking up the mantle to someone else playing Wolverine almost.
Are they gonna do him the correct height? Are they gonna make him 4'11"?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
because there's a license plate that says HLK 113, which is the Hulk. That's the first appearance ever of Wolverine, where he's 4'11". He's super tiny and wide.
Yeah,
he's like Vegeta.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I saw it. I was like, yeah, this is something to look forward to. Maybe 2024 for this. I feel like we're way off of Wolverine. They said it's in like early development.
You can be excited about the possibilities. Like right now, we don't know story, the combat, the direction the game is going to take. All we really know about the game is that the lead writer is Walt Williams, and he was also the lead writer of Spec Ops: The Line. Ooh, so if he can deliver a narrative that matches the emotional power that Spec Ops: The Line had with a Wolverine game, we could be looking at a game that is similar to Logan.
Yeah.
Or even maybe like an Origin with a dark.
Oh, that thing's definitely M-rated then.
I'm much more excited now knowing that fact. I didn't know that.
They have a fantastic writer attached to this project, and that's at least something tangible that we can, attach ourselves to get excited about. Because right now, we know nothing about the project.
I kind of feel like it doesn't have to be like a big open world Spider-Man style game. I almost feel like they could run this as more a narrative.
I'd be fine with that.
Straightforward.
That's
game.
what I was. That's what I expect. Yeah. I think the exciting prospect is that it's not going to be this big open. Because why would it be necessarily? I think we're looking at a tighter narrative experience, which is exciting because it's not going to be like Spider-Man. It's going to be Insomniac.
It'd be really big is if this leads into like we know like literally nothing about this game right now other than him sitting in a bar. What if it leads into where he goes off and meets the other X-Men and stuff at some point, and then that opens up for me.
I think we'll see other X-Men at some point in the
game.
Remember, you could visit the Avengers Tower in Marvel Spider-Man on PS4. So I always thought that that was them showing that they do have full reign, that they're allowed to add other stuff. So I think that we're probably going to see some other X-Men, or they're at least going to be mentioned or something.
At least some enemies, maybe like Sabretooth or Lady Deathstrike or something, bring them in. Those have been crucial to the series. But I will say, if they do make it more story-based, the story definitely has to be compelling, because the PlayStation story was good, but because it was so much more focused on traversal and like conversations as the game was happening, the story was kind of predictable and kind of it was good, but also at the same time, it's like you saw it coming a mile away. So it's like, I think the story would definitely have to kind of engross you a little bit more, because if they're not going to make it as open world, or you're swinging around the city, they're going to have to make up for it in other areas.
I really think what they should do is just make it like a very narrative driven game. And it's just his struggle with alcoholism. And you go to AA meetings and stuff like that.
12-step program,
maybe there's a drunk driving scene, and it could split paths. Maybe you make it home and then your wife yells at you. Maybe you don't make it home, you get in a car accident and you get put in jail. Like a lot of multiple endings and stuff like that. I think that would be good.
But he's Wolverine, he can just cut through the bars.
Wolverine can literally just get in the car accident, get out, and walk home.
And he doesn't get up. That's how the first X-Men movie starts. He skids across the pavement and just stands up like, that fucking hurt, and then he heals himself. But like, we really don't have a game in Insomniac's backlog that we can even look to as a reference point of what they could potentially be looking to build upon. This could be completely a new venture for them in direction.
Spyro the Dragon. Right? It has to be Spyro the Dragon. He runs around and he collects gems and he saves the other X-Men from being frozen in crystals. It writes itself. It's a good idea.
Game sounds like it sucks.
Okay, well then we went from that into Spider-Man. Like we had Spider-Man 2 there as well. What, like 2 showings later? And after Wolverine got shown, I was like, oh, I guess they're not doing Spider-Man 2 right now. No, they're Spider-Man 2, and they're bringing in Venom. And I guess that people are saying that was Kraven who was.
Yeah, that was Kraven the Hunter, which was probably the better twist of him sounding like he's looking for 2 people to fight him, but then Venom replies with the "I'll do it."
Do you think Venom is going to be Harry Osborn?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Harry was.
That's what they alluded to.
That's what they kind of.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the tank in Osborn Tower. It has to be
interesting.
I forgot that. Yeah, there's that whole thing has to get resolved in the second one, presumably.
Yeah.
If he's in the tank, he's trying to heal him from the.
Yeah. I mean, in theory, it could start that way, but then someone else gets it. We never know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a feeling. I mean, I assume either Peter or Miles will get the suit throughout the game.
And I think that'd be an interesting thing. Is imagine if halfway through the game, one of the Spider-Men gets the Venom suit, and then there's tension between the 2 Spider-Men.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, why are you acting so brash? Why are you attacking people all the time and stuff? Because that's
he just starts dancing in the street.
We have these videos of you at night killing people. What is that?
He goes, oh, that's so funny. I didn't know you were a snitch, Spider-Man.
I think there might be a narrative at play there where you try and because Venom still, if it is Harry, there's a way to build it where he's not going to be really a bad guy by the end of it, or something's going to happen. I think they're going to secretly bring in Carnage as the big baddie. I think that's what they're going to attempt to do. I think they're bringing in. I think that's
in
the
third game, because the Lethal Enforcer where Venom becomes good and becomes like an assassin. If they do that Venom storyline, that's not till the 3rd or 4th game. Carnage is.
No, they're bringing in. There's already hype for Venom out there in the world, and I know now with Carnage getting more hyped recently, I would easily see them bringing in. Look how many villains they had in the last game. I didn't expect them to have. I think this game they're gonna try and outdo themselves by surprising people, not only with Venom and Kraven and some others. I do think we're gonna see Carnage.
Looking at 2023 for Spider-Man 2.
That's perfect timing. I mean, it's right on schedule for their typical turnout. It means they began development of this game immediately upon completion of Spider-Man PS4, and the fact that they cast Tony Todd as the voice of Venom is
Andyman.
Yes.
I think it's looking good so far. You're right though, Nate. That would have been because I'm in 2018, that makes sense. And I mean, it's going to be 2 years between Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart and Spider-Man 2 then.
I actually, I have a question. Are any of you still slightly on edge and have paranoia about whether the trailer is actually being completely accurate or not after The Last of Us? Because sometimes I'm I wonder if, and even I guess with the Deathloop thing that you just said earlier, sometimes I feel is the trailer going to lead us astray, maybe narrative or gameplay wise, what they do with Last of Us, changing that whole scene to be completely different.
I think this is just a tease more than anything. I don't expect a scene where people walk into a bar and they want to fight. I think
it's completely.
Why? That happens.
Well, I mean, it'll happen, but I guess what I got from those were they were just teasers, they weren't necessarily be in the final game.
In the game, okay.
I will say this, it could easily be as I can pick which Spider-Man I play as, or there's different missions involving am I going to play as Miles or Peter. But can you co-op this game?
That's a good question.
I think they shut the door on that already.
Single player still.
Come on.
So you can probably just pick who you want to play as, maybe, or they have it set up specifically during story missions.
How cool could that be?
That'd be wild.
I'd just be curious because Miles and Peter have very different powers. The fact that Miles can turn invisible and objectively Peter Parker just has more raw strength. I'm curious to see, I think it's been one of those games where you beat twice just because you want to see all of it.
Or what if they do that? What if it's kind of like a Nier thing where you have to go through several times? I mean, I don't know how I'd feel about that.
Do we get to play
do something like that where instead of you playing as normal Peter Parker, maybe you play as Miles Morales and his Spider-Man, and then you go back to Peter Parker as Spider-Man for certain missions. Instead, that way we don't have to deal with the whole Peter Parker student life bullshit again.
Yeah, God, I hate that.
And then
let's probably see. Something like that.
Or maybe you can call them in as like a computerized AI partner for certain attacks. If you get like a certain level of a combo, like, oh, you hit 15, now you can hit L1 and Miles Morales will come in and electrocute them.
What if you can just tag in and out the characters whenever you want? Like, what if you can just be like, oh, nope, I'm going to switch out. Miles going to jump in. Oh, I'm Peter. But like, you can just switch back and forth.
And does the computer just take care of the other one in the background helping you fight?
Yeah, you just have them like even off to the side or something. You don't see them or anything. They're fighting. Or maybe you can even work Venom in there. You can play as Venom too. So like you can do some fun stuff with it.
I just hope there's share is a super niche thing, but I'm hoping there's shared XP between the characters. I hope it's one of those things where leveling up one character levels up both. Because man, it sucks to have a super over leveled character and then your other character you get forced to play as who's like level 4. And
then we had the big closeout, which was Silent Hill. Nate, you want to tell us about that?
I never said it was going to be there. You were the ones who keep saying it was going to be there. I never said it.
I 100%
I saw a Dreamcast guy video saying there was a trailer filmed.
I definitely thought it was going to be there. The trailer exists, and hopefully it shows up at some point.
MBG just keeps winning over here.
I mean, it's easy. It's easy because this doesn't exist.
It doesn't have to be bullshit. A Sony event.
Right there with Metal Gear.
Bullshit, arbitrary expectation.
I gotta ask MVG, what's the aversion here? Why are you so vehemently against this?
It's simple, man. It's simple. You go to the Konami gambling website and look at all the pachinko machines they have. They don't give a shit about Silent Hill.
They got skateboards.
You know what? I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the last time I checked one of their like fiscal reports, they don't generate nearly as much money as one would think.
They don't.
Are you sure?
Are you? Yeah, because we've seen some ridiculous numbers.
Easy. I think it's like easy to say, like, of course it should. It's probably a very high margin business, but at least the last time I checked, it didn't seem like it was as high as one would think. Not to say that has any bearing on like, this game, but like, I just don't get where the aversion's coming from.
Well, I mean,
it seems like something's coming. It seems like it.
But it seemed like something's been coming for the last 2 years. Like we were talking about a year ago on the show, and I think the year before that. Like every time.
But that's the problem with rumors.
Well, that's true. I mean, and I'm not disputing, and I don't disagree with
these rumors.
Nate's heard,
take it no more.
I'm just like, well, where is this game if it's real? Where is it? Like we're still waiting for it.
Konami was supposed to be at E3. They pulled out at the last minute.
Yeah, because they had nothing to show.
Blooper Team is currently working on a Silent Hill project. It's up to Konami when they want to show, and we'll get into that topic later with the Platinum.
What about
the Platinum topic? We'll get on that, but there are Silent Hill projects actively.
Fine. Or was Metal Gear Solid?
Yeah.
That one I don't know. I don't know how that one's a thing.
Let's do the Silent Hill thing with it. If Silent Hill's not there and Metal Gear Solid's not there, clearly Metal Gear Solid doesn't exist either.
Well, they didn't
exactly. Thank you.
They obviously didn't want to announce any games beyond 2022 here at this showing. So
Metal Gear Solid 4 won't come out till at least 2024. So
same with Wolverine.
It's gonna be a bit before we see, I think, this Metal Gear Solid rumored game.
MVG, what you're saying is think for yourself, question rumors.
hey, like we say with the Switch Pro stuff, there's always next year. There you go.
One thing I will acknowledge is Sony didn't show their entire hand, right? Because we didn't see anything from Naughty Dog. We didn't see anything from Ben. We didn't see the PSVR 2 stuff, Sucker Punch. So they're still obviously holding some things close to their chest, right? So, I think that's smart, right? But
what?
Yep.
I think hopefully
Industry Insider.
Of that.
Where is he? Where does he say this on Twitter?
No, he just said it in the chat. Industry Insider Jeff Grubb says Metal Gear Solid Remake isn't real. He doesn't think it's real.
That's a big difference between what you initially said and what he actually said. He said, I don't think the Metal Gear Solid remake is real. You said he said that it wasn't real.
Well, same difference.
No, I think clearly indicates that it is not inside information and is his opinion.
So?
I would agree with that.
That's different.
Is it?
Yes.
Somebody on Twitter got so mad at me because I said like I think the trailer might be shown here because I've been talking about the Silent Hill trailer as well, and I put in my predictions video. I was like, hopefully it shows up. This could be a good chance to show it. Someone put an edit of me with like Silent Hill nurses behind me and stuff, and it was like Dreamcast guy wrong again with scary music, and I was like, who's editing this? What the hell are you doing?
And now Jeff Grubb said, I don't know.
he doesn't know why you don't think that he's saying that it's not real.
That is not said in that.
What? It's implied.
Is it though?
According to Don't Subscribe to Game Pass, Jeff Grubb is an Xbox fanboy. He isn't reliable.
So does that mean that Metal Gear is real?
Oh gosh. What did we think of the show overall?
I thought it was good.
9 out of 10.
Very good.
It was 8.5 for me. I enjoyed it. It could have been better. It's always that middle part where things they just lose you. And if they can figure out how to tighten that middle part up, then I think the show would have been a 9.5.
Giving it weird pacing.
8.3 because they showed Deathloop.
I was going to say 8.5 because of Deathloop.
B-.
I give it a B-17 bomber.
I thought it was a good show. I think there was probably about 25 minutes that people are just going to forget about. But
yeah, I think a B- is fair. I think the problem with the show, and it's something that it's an industry-wide problem. It's not exclusive to Sony. They just happen to be the event that we're talking about. Is that a lot of what was shown just simply wasn't tangible. It was just look at these nothing trailers and get excited about the promise of what will be. But in the here and now, we only really showed you a handful of things with a Gran Turismo 7 date, a date for Ghostwire Tokyo, a quick look at God of War Ragnarok, which you were all anticipating, and then we hope it comes out in 2022. There wasn't a lot to really hold on to from the show, but for Sony's roadmap, it was a very promising show because it shows what's to come is very bright, and Insomniac is their star developer.
Yeah, we're about to go in and talk about Sonic, but we have a couple of games already coming up. Of course, we have Horizon in February, then we have Gran Turismo following that up immediately in March, and then Ghostwire's coming up after that, right? Well, Kina's out next week after, pretty soon. Yeah, so playing that right away. But for next year to start out, they have that pretty well set up, and they could obviously have a state of play in March or something if they want to just kind of get things set up the rest of the way for 2022. I assume, Ryan, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's the point that I think MVG said it. There's so much they're not really talking about at all yet. Still, I didn't think we were going to see 2 Insomniac games here.
Right.
Nobody really thought that. However, we've got a handful of first party that is quiet. We've got all these second party games, all these partnerships that they announced. We got Deviation, Firewalk, Haven. Now we've got a recent studio acquisition where that one sounds like they've got at minimum 2 to 3 projects going. There's a ton of things still that's in terms of the roadmap. I don't know what 2023 looks like, but I would presume that it's going to be
that's not even
year.
factoring in things that we know about that we're just waiting for updates. We still have factions. Naughty Dog has been silent on factions.
That's the thing, factions.
That's why I got a B-.
Wait. Did you say Naughty Dog has been silent? What?
When did they say anything about it?
Well, shit, now I believe it.
That's why one of the reasons I actually gave it that minus is because I was hoping that Sony would have something that's more multiplayer focused here, just something like factions or anything. It's not
really
their
MO anymore, though.
And that's the other thing too. All those projects I named are multiplayer.
Yeah, I was hoping they would just throw one out there and be like, check this out, we got something multiplayer, really. Because I'm trying to think of stuff that it's okay, this is why you should be part of PlayStation Plus and play this game multiplayer from us. On the PlayStation. That's more or less what I'm thinking, because we already know that they're going to put out those good single player narrative driven experiences, and I kind of want to get some of those multiplayer games from them as well, even if it's their second parties doing it.
I think honestly, I'm not too surprised by these launch dates being so far out, because I went into this with the mindset of hopefully we're going to see stuff that's going to prove my opinion still that the console launch should have been delayed, because now we're finally starting to see stuff picked up. But to me, this isn't surprising whatsoever, and I'm not disappointed, because this is the stuff that if the PlayStation had been delayed, I think the anticipation for the console itself would have carried over, but also it would just make more sense for these games being so far out between 2020 and the lack of accessibility to the consoles. I don't know. That was just my mindset. So the fact that it's just like, oh, it's CG trailers, this isn't ready yet, or we haven't seen from this or this. It's like, well, I think my mindset was already there because I still stand by it. They should have been delayed.
Mm. So God of War and Horizon, big game so far to anchor next year. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yep.
Well, just on that. So are you guys surprised that God of War didn't get a date for next year?
Yes, actually.
Because I was.
End of summer, August, maybe?
The fact that they didn't even they couldn't even commit to a window is concerning.
Well, they delayed the original one like twice.
It was supposed to come out this year, though, wasn't it?
It was supposed to come out this year. They waited a fairly long time until they confirmed that it would be delayed. With Gran Turismo 7, they were upfront almost as soon as the year began. They're like, yo, this ain't making this year. Okay, cool. You delayed it 6 to 8 months. God of War, the way they were talking about that release date, it was very wishy-washy, where they're unsure if it sounded unsure that they could even hit next year. I'm sure their target is for the holiday, maybe late summer, but I didn't like how they approached it.
Should they have done what they did with Breath of the Wild, where they said we're aiming for 2022? Or would you have preferred, the ambiguity? Like they delayed the first one twice, right? And it was even in the documentary too of how much they had to scramble and finally settle on a date.
I think if they said aiming for 2022, it would have gave me at least some peace of mind. But the fact that they came out last year and with confidence put up a logo with no context and ended it with 2021.
Yeah, but anyone who believed that was there and
kind of be like, what are we doing with this game? It means
I did, Sean. I'm a dumb slut, and I honestly thought the game was going to come this year.
Do you think also it could be the change of leadership and direction? Because we all know obviously Corey left some pretty big shoes to fill, I feel like, and now that we have the new director, maybe it's not as smooth of a transition as they were hoping. I don't know.
Yeah, that's honestly
if they were willing. If they were willing to put out 2021, which that in itself, like nobody really believed, but you got to figure they've got a whole year to get it out. It's within 2022, right? I mean, if they even consider the idea of saying 2021, it's got to be far long enough to know sometime next year it'll land. But why throw something out there if you're not confident about even a release, a season for that matter, right?
I'm gonna say early guess. I'm gonna say August, September next year.
November if you're lucky.
I think holiday. Yeah, holiday would be.
Well, Sony always gets their stuff out like September at the latest.
Well, I think originally God of War, the first one was supposed to be like January or February or something. And they pushed it back to April, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And ended up coming out like 4/20 or something.
But I think I think Spider-Man like that is generally like the latest we'll see Sony put out one of their big games going into a holiday. If I'm not mistaken, Ryan, I feel like they usually September is like almost a cutoff for them at times.
Yeah, there's usually this like idea that there has to be like a holiday game. They don't really, it's not often they always ship like a holiday like November, December game. It's usually like autumn.
I feel like they just kind of clear that space for all the third parties that they know they're going to get a bunch of royalties from anyway, like the Battlefields, the Call of Duties and all of that. And maybe even like third parties that they sign on for like their timed exclusives or whatnot. We're going to go to super chats here, then we're going to come back for Insomniac because I separated that a bit since there's a lot of chatter around them online. Symphonic Balance says thoughts on Apple versus Epic court ruling yesterday. Sounds like they both lost.
Yeah.
I got to dive into it more, but it didn't sound great. It sounded like they spent a whole bunch of money and that was it. So
if you listen to Apple, they said they won.
Well, actually, Tim Sweet, he's sounded like he like went like on a spiritual like.
I saw that. Yeah, he said today I walked through the mountains, I wrote some code, and I read 200 pages of legal documents.
He's like, I lost a court case.
Oh, wait, didn't they just change the whole way that developers can like get payment instead of through Apple's?
Not apparently. Fortnite doesn't even have to go back to Apple's like store. Apparently, they don't have to reinstate it.
They said like they don't have to allow it back. So Apple can be petty during this whole thing, even after it's resolved.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, gamers are the real losers here, to be honest. Like it's
true.
A shame. I know some creator friends who like their entire living actually is their content was made on mobile gaming, specifically for Fortnite. Like then they're big channels, and it just sucks that, I mean, granted, putting your eggs all in one basket, that's one argument, but like when you're such a unique like form of content such as mobile gaming, and then for the pettiness to be going on that has been happening. It sucks, you know, but ultimately people have to realize they are companies and corporations, and money talks, and unfortunately companies are petty just like the rest of us.
Zoob says, shout out to Scott for defending Metroid Dread, Price, and Fall and Rise of 2D video. What's your reservations about 2D? I only like to play them handheld. I don't know. They're fun. I play them on
I love 2D.
Monitor. Yeah, I don't know.
No reservations here.
Dread looks good. That's all I know. It looks 3,000,001 units good. That's all we need. But yeah, that's Dread looks good. I don't know. 2D games, if they feel like they're high quality,
I mean, my favorite Metroid.
Pay what it's worth.
I mean, Metroid Fusion's my favorite freaking Metroid, and that's 2D.
Look, some people out there paid for that Mystery Dungeon remake at $60, so Dread's probably worth $60. Derek says, "Yo, RGT, could you down an entire cherry pie?" This is from Derek. Can you down an entire cherry pie in one sitting? Shout out to everyone on the cast. Love you guys.
I'm not really big into cherry pie. I like pumpkin and apple.
Okay, those though you could.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't care.
Just fold it in half. Just shove it. Yeah.
What about sweet potato pie?
Oh.
That's pretty good too.
Okay.
You did randomly just sit down with an entire pizza at one point, no sweat. Like.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's nothing to me.
Yeah. Didn't even cut it. Mint says, first game to make you pull an all-nighter.
StarCraft.
Huh.
Wow.
That might have been Final Fantasy VII when I rented it. And I was like, I'm finishing this thing.
Either that or Ocarina of Time.
That's a good one too.
When it first came out, I would say.
That's a good one. You could also maybe even Mario Party. I'm trying to think, because like back then, if everyone was kind of together overnight and we're all playing Mario Party, those went on for a while.
I think mine would have been Melee. I think we had everybody over, and I guess it was like maybe a LAN party before a LAN party kind of thing. It was a lot of fun. It was like all the kids in the neighborhood, like 12 kids. I feel bad for my parents.
I just remember renting Final Fantasy VII, and then I was like, Friday night, I was like, I'm finishing this thing. It's like, just got it back on Sunday.
Did you really?
Yeah, dude. I didn't have a memory card. So I was like, well.
You started it without a memory card?
Dude, that was back then, the memory cards, like this was around the time that the PS2 was getting talked about. When the PS2 came out, in particular, memory cards were impossible to find. They were like 4 times the amount. So the PS1 started to have that issue as we were working up to it, because like the big Final Fantasy games came out like towards the end of the PS1's life, but Final Fantasy VII was like right there when I got the little PS1, the slim PS1. Memory cards were impossible to find.
When you got it.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm fine. I got it because I got a 64 first. Then I got the PS1. I was like, all right, I'm renting Final Fantasy VII. I'm going to beat it. And I was like, I don't have a memory card. I'm playing all the way through it in a weekend. That's it. I'm not turning the PlayStation off. I never turned it off.
The true story, the first time I beat Final Fantasy VII, it took 3 months.
Yeah, I did. I was like, I'm getting through this thing. So I just hit the pause on it. Yeah, so
I just went through it again.
I know. I beat that game like twice a year. I love it.
Still good. Fish Fan says, thanks for another great show. Spawn Crew, RGT, any good eats from Gma this week? Also, nice improv on the intros. Good luck with the move, RGT.
Yeah, I was over there last Sunday and Saturday, and a lot of lasagna. Made a lot of lasagna.
Very nice. This is okay. Here we go. Console Gamer asks, guest question: N64 GameCube.
Oh no.
It's a trap.
This is for Ryan.
Oh, it's for me.
Yeah, Nintendo 64 or GameCube.
Oh, haven't I seen you guys tweet about this shit before?
Yes.
Yes.
Don't look at the chat. Speak from your heart, Ryan. Okay.
You know what? I spent a lot more time with GameCube.
Oh, there we go.
So,
all right.
So it's not fair. You know, I mean, come on. You're going to be more partial to what you spent more time.
Under the bus.
Oh, no.
Throw that
I mean, it doesn't have a million twists, 1 or 2, but you know.
I just started buying more GameCube games too.
Yes, that is quite expensive.
No kidding.
Hair says, RGC, I'd love a bottle of chest hair. Can you make that happen?
What?
Send him the DM. There you go.
Yeah.
Lucia says, love Tales of... I don't know. Someone
going to make a clone.
Paid to put that in the super... Yeah. Lucia says, love Tales of Arise so far, but I've never been this broken in RPG though. Oh, not sure if that's intentional, but those boss fights are rough. So they have like side quests that you do, and you actually get quite a bit of money doing those, along with like special points for your skill tree that you have. I would just look for those little envelopes above people's heads. Willem says, funny how PlayStation got Bayonetta before Nintendo. Well, we got to see when this comes out first, because we're going to talk about Platinum here in a minute. Pixelated says, RGC, what lifespan do you think the AEW console game will have? I'm hoping 2 or 3 years with DLC rather than a yearly model. Thoughts on new footage?
I like the new footage. It definitely looks a lot better than what we've been seeing from other companies. And I think it'll last a good bit. I don't think it's going to be a yearly thing. I think they'll add characters in and whatnot.
Marky says, Dreamcast guy, do you even lift, bro? Also, I miss your glasses that don't have any lenses in them. PS Project Eve looks way better than God of War.
Well, don't worry. Look, just for you, Super Chat, here's my lensless glasses. I'll wear them for the rest of the show, and chat can just be triggered.
There you go. Truly Epic says, is the Retron 5 still a good option for playing retro games with the Polymega finally shipping out units? Love the SpawnCast, by the way, tune in every week.
Yes, because the Polymega is $1 million fucking dollars. When you get a Polymega, it only plays CDs out of the box.
Who did a video on that?
I did, but I did it 2 years ago. Wasn't it supposed to be $299? Now it's like $500.
Is it really?
It's $500 just for the base.
Is it really?
Whoa!
Yeah.
Damn. What happened to that?
I don't know.
This is from Cristobal, says, big fan of SpawnCast and Mystic. Insomniac followed up with great games after Activision Spider-Man games. Hope they do the same with Wolverine. There we go. This is from Andrew saying, John, check your DM to see the cool Halo shirt I got. And check that out. And then we have don't subscribe to Game Pass saying, Mystic, your content is GOAT, better than these chumps.
That's also, not what I want.
Don't subscribe to Game Pass. Good. A lot
this
of
man is hate watching.
Not what I want.
He's hate donating. You have to respect it.
This one's
subscribe
from
to Game Pass and PS Now.
There you go. This one's from Dave saying, I know this is a podcast for discussing the gaming industry, but I want to take a moment to give my condolences to those that mourn lost loved ones from the events of 20 years ago. Much love to those grieving, and of course, the SpawnCast. Ice says, with 2 Spider-Mans in Spider-Man 2, do you think there's a chance for co-op? Hopefully couch co-op. We kind of mentioned that briefly.
I wish. My dreams.
Pixelated says, MVG, did you ever dabble in Quake 3's level editor? I had a guitar teacher who won a competition back in the day. That community seemed really fun.
Cool. No, I didn't really get into the Quake 3 level design modding stuff, but I've seen a lot of the stuff that's been done in that space, and it looks really cool. But no, that's awesome. Good to hear.
And yes, then shout out to Dave Cameron here. Okay, then we had Insomniac. So I broke Insomniac off as a separate topic, mostly because there's a lot of conversation around them on Twitter, and I don't know if it was a hot take or not that I put out there in a video about them, but I will go to Ryan, because I'm curious about this one. All right, after what you just saw from Insomniac and what they've been putting out to start off the PS5, where do you kind of rank them with Sony Studios?
Where would I rank them?
Yeah,
that's tough. There's just, there's a lot of energy with them right now. It's hard to argue how good they're doing.
Because I put them as Sony's best studio.
Yeah, it's not. That's. I mean, there's no wrong answer, but I mean, it's hard to argue against them right now. They're doing really good. But yeah, there's that hierarchy, right? I mean, they've got some of these smaller studios, like people forget they have Pixel Opus.
Yep.
Right. And then you've got, but like there's that top like 4 or 5, right? We're talking Santa Monica, Sucker Punch, Naughty Dog, and now Insomniac. They've Guerrilla. They're part of that upper echelon, and I think no matter where you at that point, it's preference really. At least that's how I see it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're up there. I mean, it's nutty what they've been doing lately. And it's like in between all these things too. Like they're sending out, continuous patches making Spider-Man better and better and better, like the remaster. They pushed out that patch for the 40 FPS fidelity mode on Ratchet. Like it's just they're constantly putting out new things in between these major releases. It's just their work ethic is insane. It's baffling what they're doing.
Yeah, I was looking at their previous list of games, which they have it compiled. I think it's even on like Wikipedia. There was like a string of like 5 or 6 years where they just released game after game after game, and they made the transition from the PS2 to the PS3 and didn't skip a beat at all. They went from 2005 Ratchet Deadlocked on the PS2 immediately into Resistance Fall of Man on 2006. And then kept it going in 07 and 08 and 09 and just kept rolling along with PS3 titles.
I feel like they had a head start on PlayStation 3. If they were able to get Cell up and going that quickly for a launch title, you know, they were already ahead of everybody else by the time they're starting a sequel, which would have been Resistance 2 and then 3.
Look at this run here starting in 2002. Ratchet and Clank. And this is just, I mean, this is a string of games from 2002 until 2009. So every year they released a game. Ratchet and Clank, and they had Ratchet and Clank Going Commando, then Up Your Arsenal, then Deadlock, then Resistance Fall of Man, then Ratchet and Clank Future Tools of Destruction, then Ratchet and Clank Future Quest for Booty, Resistance 2, Ratchet and Clank Future A Crack in Time. So that was just a string of games year after year after year.
And those Resistance games are banging. So it's crazy that they were doing different genres back to back as well.
Then here's the interesting thing with Insomniac. They went on another run from 2011 all the way until 2016. But they did VR games in there for some companies. They worked on phone games. So like they've done a lot. Like they could, if Sony was like, hey, we need a game for the PSVR 2, technically Insomniac could be like, yeah, all right, we'll do something.
Yeah. That was during their stint where they said they wanted to go independent and they wanted to keep all their IP. So there was a string of years where they were, you know, doing multi-platform stuff, and then they just went back to Sony.
Years. Yeah.
They made a game for the Magic Leap 1.
Everyone remembers.
No one knows what the Magic Leap 1 is. No. They made a game for it.
What's there to say about it?
Isn't that the kids console, right?
That was the that actually used a Tegra Parker chip, if I'm not mistaken. That actually had an X2 in it, which is weird. But it was an augmented reality all-in-one like headset, similar to like the Oculus Quest kinda. And they made it something called Strangelets for it. So like that was in 2019.
And don't forget Sunset, right, on the Xbox.
Yep, Sunset Overdrive. So they've been all over the place. They worked on a bunch of different hardware, even down to the Vita. So like they
here's the real question: what was their low point, and why was it Fuse?
Let's just about to pull that
up. I mean, you could also point to
they did
Bad Dinos on iOS.
Come on, that's a classic.
Bad Dinos.
Fuse had a lot of good ideas. I replayed that about a year and a half ago. I think it had a lot of great ideas that all of them kind of fail. But I think the idea of like drug addicted soldiers hallucinating that they're the hero is a great concept. They just borked it.
What about Slow Down Bull? There's a comma there. That's why I paused. Slow Down Bull.
That was actually fun.
Is it? It's on. I'm looking at it now. It's on PC.
Yeah, that game's actually fun.
Let's see. Well, it wasn't fun enough apparently to have a Wikipedia page.
It happens.
Okay. So, I mean, they've been around for a while, obviously, back to 94. The first game was Disruptor. But my point is they seem to be able to put out pretty good quality games consistently right now.
I think people don't realize how many teams actually are present within Insomniac.
It says they have 450 employees.
They have roughly in the area of 4 to 5 teams.
Okay.
So like the Ratchet and Clank team, they're still going to be patching, maybe making new content, or they're going to be working on the next Ratchet and Clank. The Spider-Man team began work on Spider-Man 2 immediately upon completion of the first Spider-Man team. Miles Morales was built in tandem with that. So that game was already well underway. The Wolverine game, that could be a completely that could be the Miles Morales team.
Yeah.
So
it is the Miles Morales team.
Right, yeah. So they're in a consistent state of just motion. And that's why they're able to turn out a brand new game basically every single year.
Where are you putting them right now, Nate? In Sony's like studios. Like, I mean, obviously it's like, okay, which really good studio versus another good studio? Where are they placed essentially? But like,
definitely top 3. I think the only thing that keeps them from being number 1 in my book is that what we see from other Sony studios like Santa Monica is that they are creating their own IP. And right now we have Insomniac kind of relegated to Ratchet and Clank, which is always quality. And now these Marvel IPs. It's not so much them being original and coming up with their own ideas. They're getting high-end licenses from, Disney and Marvel to make, and that's fine. But when you look at Santa Monica or Naughty Dog or Sucker Punch, they're coming out with their own unique ideas, creating brand new IP, creating franchises for Sony. And I think that's the only thing that keeps Insomniac back from number one in my book.
Okay.
Understandable.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, when you say though that relationship with Marvel and Sony is pretty important, so you would pick a studio that you can really trust?
Yeah, I mean, there's probably no better within Sony than Insomniac for those types of games. If you're Marvel and Disney looking for a studio to make a superhero-based game, Insomniac, I would even consider Sucker Punch as a possible candidate. Yep. But those are the two I would look at within Sony to give a Marvel license to.
Okay. Because I'm also looking at like the number of games they're getting out there and the content, because obviously that's what turns revenue. Like, being able to get more games out there. Like Spider-Man is like, that's what's selling right now for them, and it's a good time to announce it when the movie's coming up here. There's a lot of hype around that. So
they're very proficient. And I mean, Sony just has a very impressive internal roster of development teams when you really look at everything they have from Western developers, from Naughty Dog, Santa Monica, Guerrilla. They can cover any genre and they can do it well, and that's their strength.
My issue though with some of like the other studios is it seems like they have a new game like every 5 years, every 6 years or something like that.
Yes.
It takes them a while, whereas Insomniac is getting out games every 2 years, less than that now, because Miles Morales, then months later, Ratchet and Clank. There's like a couple months gap in there, something like that, 5 or 6 months. That's like you see that, and it's like, all right, this studio seems different than the others at Sony when it comes to just being able to get these games out.
So there was this interesting expose article thing that came out like 8 or 9 months ago that talked about the fact that they actually have one of the highest reported happiness ratings of a lot of studios as well. They give them a lot of time off. They give them a lot of paid vacation. They have crazy, I think they're trying to experiment with shorter work weeks and stuff. They do not have like any forced overtime. I think it's also just that Sony is giving them the room of like, all right, you guys are killing it. Yeah, go take a vacation. I think that definitely that happiness. I feel like there's a happiness that shines in the games.
It feels like Insomniac falls more in line with what Sean Layden was saying recently with some of these studios, where it's like they take a long time to get some of these games out and they cost a lot. And he was looking more towards like the 3-year cycle for games. That's kind of what I'm looking at a bit with Insomniac with some of these titles they release. They get them out more frequently than some of these studios around them. That, I mean, Sean Lane's saying some of these budgets could go upwards of $200 million in his mind. Like, that's ridiculous. That is super. So now that $10 upcharge is making a bit more sense, to 70. These weird upgrade things that they're doing make more sense. It's, I don't know, that is something that could get out of hand very quickly.
Whose fault is that? Whose problem is that? It's not my problem as a consumer. Well, get your budgets down.
A problem. It's a problem of industry because, Sean, there's literally a tweet going around on Twitter because the animation looks very similar for Kratos getting into a boat.
That guy's a fucking idiot, though. Who cares what he says?
If you look at the guy's description, it says "proud ex-bot."
But what it does is it forms this sense of everything has to be perfect and get better and better and better. No, like we can't have.
I'll tell them what, make your own goddamn video game and everything's different. But until you become a developer and you make your own video game, please exit the vehicle and don't,
we can't,
good Lord, hate you, worry, split you. You know what I'm saying?
Like, we can't have static fruit stands in Halo Infinite during the beta in multiplayer, stuff like that. And you can't have Kratos jumping in a boat similarly to how we did in 2018 or something. And that's kind of the thought process here. And I'm sure they feel it too. It's like, it has to get better than the last one and better than the last one. And then, the budgets just get out of control for some of these titles when they probably don't have to. Like, there are probably things they could cut out, get the game done faster and have it cost less. But
also, can we just say it's just how the guy gets into a boat? Does he have to get into a different boat?
No one actually cares. I didn't even notice.
Weird.
Listen, aside from a new story, some possible new mechanics, and a whole bunch of other things, how am I going to know it's a brand new game if I don't see new animations of jumping in?
If he doesn't have if that man didn't learn about boats and just buy it and build it and jump in it, I don't know, so dumb.
Yeah, and why is it a canoe again? We've already done that. Give him a jet ski or something. He deserves it. Honestly,
let's go, boy.
Evan, we got Discord questions over there.
Can we get a remastered Spawnwave couch video?
Oh, I might get a couch for that.
What?
The old videos were shot on a couch on Spawnwave.
Yeah, I used to have a couch way back in the day. That's before I had
a couch.
That was a long time ago.
There's no couches anywhere in his home.
Nope,
no,
I got rid of them. I had to put them out.
You gotta get like a table, like a round table, like a high top table, like a gate. Yeah, and you have people sitting around it.
Let me get a couch back in the day. That's not a bad idea.
Can we green screen you on the casting couch?
We got another Discord question, Evan.
What turn-based RPG should get remade into an action RPG?
Knights of the Old Republic, just because I want to see Twitter for that day.
That's probably what's going to happen.
I know. I thought about this too. I'm like, they're going to put
it out there. You just put it out there, and that's what's going to happen.
I'm sorry.
You really think Aspire has that much talent?
I kept making.
Damn.
They're hiring people, Nate.
Damn, man.
I will say I was making fun of Sega for allowing us to unlock these Super Monkey Ball characters that they kept adding, and then they started charging money for them. And I'm like, oh man, my bad. You got to pay for what you call it, the Dreamcast and the Game Gear.
And I'm going to. It's the worst looking one.
They know you're going to. They know we're all going to.
It doesn't even roll in the ball.
They took like an image. They took like a JPEG.
It is.
They were like, you know what? That worked for Metroid Prime 4. Put it in the ball. That was it.
Put it in the ball.
And we got another Discord question.
What is one game you want remastered but not remade?
Legend of Dragoon, because there's so much talk about that. I feel like it's kind of almost being forgotten. And of course, Grandia 2 would be cool, or Skies of Arcadia.
I guess it would depend on the definition of remaster in this case.
Oh, it is easy. Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah.
I'm not trolling, but I would say Silent Hill 2.
Oh,
I'd love that. I'd love it.
Is a remaster? Are we dividing a remaster as like a 1-for-1?
I'm just trying to get Metal Gear Solid 4 on any other system right now.
I imagine it's mostly just upscaling, maybe some asset alteration, but mostly.
I'm still sticking with Star Fox Assault, man. Like, just give me it. Remap controls. Put it online.
F-Zero GX.
Instead of my usual Crocker chameleon twist, I'll say the two Pokemon GameCube games, Coliseum and XD Gale of Darkness.
Oh, okay.
Okay. That's a good one.
It's two games
for love. Yeah, but they can do a two in one pack.
Only pick one.
Nintendo.
Yeah. I'll give you 2 in 1 pack for $120.
Interesting.
That's a good deal.
I'll take a remaster. I don't need to go crazy with it. Just put it on PS5 or something.
Okay. You can release that alongside Mag. All right.
Yeah, Mag too.
Yeah, oh no.
It's coming.
We got another Discord question, Evan.
Have you ever tried to speedrun a game before?
Absolutely not.
Oh.
If you search by
it looks like a miserable experience.
Max, you have, right?
Yeah, for a short time I held the world record for Resident Evil 2 Claire A Infinite Rocket Launcher at like 49 minutes or whatever, but I beat the game about 70 times in a summer.
Wow.
I would beat it 5 times a day, and then when I recorded the official world record one, which you can watch on my channel, I beat it 5 times that day. I beat it 5 times in a row, and then I turned on the camera and did the speed.
You probably were pretty sore after that, weren't you?
No, it was pleasurable. I promise. It was good.
Mine was Dead Space 2.
I'm always game to run the train. No, it was good.
Beating it 5 times a day. That's a lot.
My hands were a little bit sore, but I took a nice bath. It'll be fun.
I hate you guys.
Haven't got a Discord question.
When do you think we'll hear more about Hogwarts Legacy?
Never.
I don't know. Wait, hold on. DC Fandom's coming up, right? Are they gonna do it? Not doing anything there with that. No, though. I'm sorry. Next year, probably early next year. It's supposed to come out next year, isn't it? 2022, I thought is what they said. Am I off on that?
They delayed it.
Yeah, I thought they said 2022.
I mean, wouldn't it also be wise to delay it after all that uproar over rolling stuff?
I just don't think the game was ready. I think they were still just working on it just because of COVID and everything. I think their entire development got jacked up. So
convenient for them.
That was delayed January 2021. So, and we haven't seen it since. So something's going on with it.
They were fading into the background for a bit. Had to get off the internet with that. Yeah. We'll see it probably. I assume they're gonna talk about it next year. I don't know. So We got another Discord question, Evan?
Yeah, we still got a bunch. How likely is it that Nintendo? All right. How likely is it that Nintendo will wait to release Metroid Prime 4 as a launch title for the successor with a simultaneous release to the regular Switch?
That would be stupid.
So they'll probably do it to annoy me.
Yeah. I could see it though. That's the thing. Yeah, it would suck.
You can't rule it out, right?
Yeah,
could happen.
Could be a cross-gen game.
Yeah. All right. When the Smash Bros. Wii U 3DS Fighter ballot was happening, who did you submit as a request?
No one.
I wasn't even on the internet. I was off the internet during that time.
Yeah, I don't think I did anything with that.
Yeah. How do you find time to play classic games with the onslaught of releases from current systems?
Very rarely do I get a chance to, unfortunately.
I don't sleep.
Yeah, I would say I figure Max just doesn't sleep at all.
I've beaten 3 games this week. One of them was open world. I have not slept.
How, Max?
I don't know. I literally game 10 hours a day. I go to the gym, I eat my protein powder, and then I just play video games.
There you go. All right.
Do you see Xbox and Valve working together and bringing out an Xbox branded Steam Deck bundled with free Xbox Game Pass for 6 months?
That'd be cool, but no.
Maybe.
I could see them trying to work out something with xCloud on Steam. And possibly just having it as something on the box for Steam Deck whenever in the distant future that it shows up in stores.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years from now.
Yeah, that's gonna be a long time. Yeah.
What is your most anticipated game of the rest of the year that isn't Halo Infinite?
Dread.
Metroid.
Isn't Halo Infinite? Yeah, it might be.
Kenna and Dread.
Might be Dread. Might be Dread.
Kenna and Dread.
I guess if we're not talking Halo Infinite.
I don't have.
Unless Sports Story gets announced soon.
You guys really aren't excited for Kenna?
I'm pretty excited.
Oh, no, I mean,
it looks good. I question why it's $40 though. That makes me wonder about the longevity of the game.
Well, technically, wouldn't they still be considered indie?
Yeah, it is. It's indie as fuck.
Yeah, but Sony's helping fund it, aren't they?
Kinda. I mean, the only other work we've seen from them is that Majora's Mask short. So I honestly could see it almost being like a Hollow Knight kind of thing. Like this one's 40, and then if it does really well, like maybe they produce something else and it's a full price.
I feel like we've been just so many people have been waiting for the next 2D Metroid, like a new one in the series.
Driven. Yeah,
there's a lot of hype there for that.
I could see that.
Unless I'm forgetting like some other big games that are coming out in the next couple months, there's no like singular game that's like I'm excited for, like overly excited for. Like as big of a Halo fan as I am, I have so little faith in this upcoming Halo game, and that's story campaign wise.
Well, make sure you're signed up for that flight because that's happening soon. So that'll give us a look at actual like PvP and big team battle is the word. So that'll give us an idea on the multiplayer. So we will see.
Who do you want to put in the ball? This is related to Super Monkey Ball. Who else do you want in that little ball?
The GameCube.
The Saturn.
I'm just trying to help him sell the game, all right? The Saturn. Wait, no, they put the Game Gear? No, they put the Saturn in there, didn't they?
Yeah, I thought it was the Saturn, Game Gear,
Dreamcast
and
Saturn.
Yeah.
Was the Saturn in there?
Yeah,
Put the car from Daytona in there.
Yeah,
I like that.
Crazy Sonic Fighter.
The reason I think the GameCube needs to go in there, I mean, Super Monkey Ball's on the GameCube. Like
it's true, yeah.
You gotta put that in the ball, right?
Yeah, but it's also on the PS2 and the Xbox.
No one really played it there. Everyone played on the GameCube.
But it's there. What they should put in if they want to sell this game is coffee milk and hot wieners.
Oh my gosh.
Coffee milk.
And for your information, MVG, the Coney Island in Ponyville, the New York system, was founded by a man who came over from Greece.
Oh, there you go.
So this is some authentic Greek wieners.
Just surrounded.
There's a third idea, Evan.
Is that word feel good in your mouth or something?
Oh gosh.
I only like Nathan's hot dogs. Those are the best.
Do we have Evan? Do we have another one over there?
We got a couple. Why do you think that Sony have taken such a drastic turn from the last gen to this gen? Specifically talking about kind of blowing up and being amazing for PS4 and then seeming to be complacent with the PS5.
Jim Ryan.
I think it's just changing just overall leadership for that. They've transitioned pretty recently from Sean Layden and Andrew House and all of that to Jim Ryan and Herman Holst. I mean, that's what I would assume. I think they're still just settling in with a lot of stuff. I don't know if Ryan can speak on that a bit more, but that's my theory on it.
I don't know.
It doesn't. I wouldn't say it's as dramatic as one would make it out. I think it's just a lot of this like the policy stuff that keeps showing up left and right, and that's where it rubs people the wrong way. Like that was always my concern with the company, is that I don't want them to get complacent like PS3. And it's not even remotely close to that. Like it's not nearly as bad as PlayStation 3.
Well, yeah.
It's still a great system. It's got great software. It's got most of the services that PS4 did. There's some clear overlap where it's fine in most respects, but I think nowadays there's just a lot of comparables being drawn, right? Naturally, like, oh, okay, what about what Microsoft's doing? Well, they got all these, consumer-friendly initiatives, and we're looking at Sony going, well, what are you going to do? And when they don't do it, it's just, and then you have all these other things like, oh, we're going to close the stores and the old consoles. That's more, bad will getting thrown around. Then we've got, the closure of Japan Studio, and there's going to be an uproar about that. It's just all this bad news, and the company's not talking at all, right? That was like the problem.
Yeah.
We went pretty much a full year without a showcase, and they just they're like in their own lane. They don't really care, or they're not really reactionary, and there's a sort of image getting built up in this, and in the enthusiast discussion, that they're like just awful now, or just how they're approaching like the hardware, right? It's still fine, but it's.
I think it's just Jim. I think it's just Jim Ryan. Like people look at him now and they're like, I don't trust that guy. So they have kind of an image issue with that, I think. But
he's just not likable. Yeah, that's the problem.
People like
He's just not.
Like, put him up on stage.
The problem is investors, shareholders, and all the businesses that Sony partners with, they love Jim Ryan.
Absolutely. I mean, when Jim Ryan steps down, whenever that is, he's going to be the most successful leader at Sony on the book.
Yes.
Yeah. He seems like the get it done. He seems like the guy that they look at and he's like, yeah, he's the get it done guy.
He was always a numbers man. Yeah. He turned around the PlayStation 3 in Europe, and Sony saw what he did with the system there, and they knew he was next in line. He's far too successful. Yes, the consumers hate him, but at the end of the day, he makes them money. He makes good business deals, and that's all they care about. The consumer can bitch all they want. At the end of the day, they're still running out the door to buy PlayStation 5s and buy Sony published games. They complain about him, but they still reward his business practices. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like it's a lot of this happens in the enthusiast community, like people that would watch this live stream or watch our YouTube videos. It's just not like, and everyone overlooks where Jim Ryan came from. Like there's a very big reason why PlayStation has a dominance in Europe. Like, and it's I don't want to say it's not even close, but like you can see over the lifetime of PlayStation hardware, globally speaking, I mean, it's nuts what they do. And Europe is a huge market for them. And that's Jim Ryan. It's all Jim Ryan.
Yeah.
And it's like when you look at their fiscal reports every single year, every quarter, they're breaking new records. Their revenue and profit, they're collecting, they're cash flowing. They're not, like, in that respect, they're pretty well off right now. But if you watched YouTube videos, if you watched live streams, if you followed gaming news, you would think that they're in an awful position, but it's just not. That's where the divide is happening.
Let's go to Platinum Games, our last topic, and then we'll finish up with some super chats. How many Discord questions do we have left?
Just one. It's just a shout out. The guy started playing Katana Zero, and it's blown him away. He likes it. He's wondering what anyone else's thoughts were on it. I liked it. It was all right.
Yeah, you liked it a lot, Evan. I thought it was cool. Yeah, absolutely.
I think Evan forced me to play it, and yeah, it really impressed me.
Okay, Platinum Games. They were in the news, even though it wasn't really. I don't know. It was news, but it kind of wasn't news as well, because I think it's because they mentioned Bayonetta 3, and people are legitimately concerned that there is something wrong with Bayonetta 3 right now. Like, I feel like this has come up before too. Did we talk about this on a podcast, Nate, with Bayonetta 3?
Probably.
Like, are we like there was concerns at one point about there being an issue with Bayonetta 3, or them having a hard time with it, or something's just not quite. I mean, you can look at the whole situation from the outside and be like, all right, something seems off about what's going on with Bayonetta 3. But they said this was in an interview. It was more of a not definitely something will come out this year, but if there is a year, then something should happen, right? If you remember last time, I said that even though everyone was asking about Bayonetta 3, maybe you should tell everyone to forget about it for a while. I kind of need to keep that stance now because ultimately it's not our decision what to say and when to say it. Going on further to say, there's nothing wrong. We're just waiting to be able to show it. I don't. It's been a while.
So I have a question. So how did that statement from Platinum morph into publications saying Bayonetta is ready to go, but now we're waiting for Nintendo to tell us when we can release it?
You know the answer to your question.
Clickbait.
We want to show it's just as much as fans are waiting for it, we are waiting for the day when we can show it. We want everyone to cheer us on as we run to the final stretch. We want to show it too.
That's not the same as the game is ready to release. We're waiting for Nintendo. We're waiting for Dread to, move out of the way so we can now release Bayonetta 3. To me, that's saying we're still working on it, and while we have something we can show, it doesn't necessarily mean the game's done. I still feel like it
morphed into it's done. It's just being held.
Exactly.
No, I don't think it's done. I kind of think I don't know if it was COVID related or what, but I feel like something happened here with this game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if I don't think it's a disaster, nothing like that. I just think if it wasn't for COVID, the game may have been shown and even out by now, for all we know. So
it seems weird. The fact that we haven't seen it again, like that's the weird part to me, is that like Platinum usually, I don't know, it's very bizarre to just the fact that like Metroid Prime 4 just being a logo and this practically just being a logo since we got that 1 30-second tease how many years ago? It's
2017.
Yeah, 4 years without a peep. What the hell?
Yep. Game Awards 2017. It's been a long time.
So what do you think, Nate? I mean, it's fairly complicated because do you think Nintendo's pushing Platinum, to get this game done? Because I mean, by rights they should be, right? I mean, they're publishing this for them. So, or do you think that Platinum is essentially just,
overrated?
They're stuck.
Sorry.
Well, that's another topic. But do you think that they're just kind of stuck in development hell and there's really no end in sight with this game right now?
I'd say it's probably somewhere in the middle. I'm sure Nintendo is probably sitting there at this point saying, what's happening? And if we look at other Platinum projects like Babylon's Fall, or the fact that they had a project taken from them just a couple of years ago with
Scalebound?
That online game. I can't recall the name of it right now.
Scalebound?
Not Scalebound.
There was a game that I know you're talking about. I know you're talking about. There was a game that they lost basically, and someone else took it from them, and
they had announced it, and then I think it was I can't think of the name of the company. I think it was CY Games, Psy Games. I think they took it over.
Yeah. It feels like there's something going on at Platinum. Like I don't know if they're at.
I think it's management. I think the management is just a disaster right now. And when you look at Bayonetta 3, the original director has left the company. That's never a good sign. Not to say it negatively impacted the flow of the game itself, but there could have been a vision that they were developing originally that then shifted, even if it was 2 years into development, where they said, this isn't working out. We have to go back to the drawing board and maybe salvage some of this, and we have to cut content. We have to redirect content, and that's going to add time. But the fact that we have not seen this game in 2.5 years is concerning. And I mean, these articles, especially with some of the headlines, some of them are saying, oh, Platinum was saying we're waiting for Nintendo to show it. If that was what was communicated, that is very unprofessional of Platinum, and that is not something you want to be doing as a contract studio, of pushing your publisher or your funder under the bus and blame them for the lack of presence.
Yeah, I kind of
agree. They can just go to Kickstarter again.
Oh no. I kind of feel like they were trying to do something pretty big with the Bayonetta franchise. Like, I don't know if they were thinking about making it like semi-open world or some really like I guess ambitious path for this series, and it just didn't work out the way they were hoping it would. Now we're in this position where they announced it almost 4 years ago and we haven't seen anything since then.
It can be. I mean, COVID definitely played a role in things.
Yeah.
That was definitely a contributing factor. We know that the company did go through some form of restructuring as well, but it just feels as though the company right now is they don't really have a sense of direction. And if I'm Nintendo, they've been a very reliable partner for them in the past. They leaned on them heavily in the Wii U days. I'd be looking at Bayonetta 3, and when the end product does come to market, I'd have to be looking at Platinum with a little hesitancy, because what we're seeing industry-wide, this was a studio that was highly coveted and one that developers sought to go after for contract work. And all of a sudden, what we're seeing them produce with Babylon's Fall looks like to be a disaster. It was Grand Blue Fantasy Relink.
Oh, yeah, yep, Grand Blue.
That's what was taken away. The fact that they lost a project, Microsoft cancels a project, they're self-publishing The Wonderful 101 because Nintendo had no interest in bringing that game to market once again. It feels as though Platinum is scrambling, and we know they have ambitions to begin to self-publish their own games. So they may even in the back of their minds be kind of concerned that the contract work days may be coming to an end. And if Nintendo's the only client who may continually come forward to find work with them, that's scary times for that studio. And they have so much talent, but it just feels as though the management is in complete disarray and something has to give. And if we don't see Bayonetta 3 in some form this year, I don't care if it's just a 5-second trailer with a logo, you really have to question.
All right, let's put the bets down now then. All right. So let's say there's a direct in the next 2 weeks. Is Bayonetta 3 there?
No.
Oh. I'm gonna say yeah. I think it has to be there. Like
no
a CG trailer, anything.
No way.
I'm gonna go with Spawn. I'll say it.
It has to be, right? It's been almost 4 years.
If it's not, then there's something terrible.
There's something wrong. Yeah. If we're going to 2022 and not seeing it since Video Game Awards 2017, I feel like then we're kind of like, ooh, yeah, there was something went wrong here.
It's weird that they just release a statement every year being like, I promise it's great. Well, show me, bitch.
I want to just remind everyone that Beyond Good and Evil 2 was announced the same year and has actually had more shown.
Has it though?
At least one of those two will actually come to market.
I mean,
it's definitely Beyond Good and
right. But I just want to put that out there. Beyond Good and Evil 2, that was during E3 2017, and they actually sat down and played it for a little bit. Probably not the version that'll come out in 2032, but still, they did show it. Let's put that out there.
I love how people are saying I'm capping right now. What am I capping?
Okay, how about this? Star Fox Zero. Should they bring it to the Switch? Because they said they want to.
Of course. It's a great game.
No, ship Bayonetta first. Get that out.
Hold on. Yeah. They took care of Astral Chain. Okay. Apparently they can work on all kinds of stuff on the Bayonetta 3. All right. So Star Fox Zero can come over, right? We can do that.
It would be weird though. They'd have to retool the whole game. So
they would. I mean,
I wouldn't hate it. I didn't have a problem with the game on the Wii U.
Yeah, I like the game. I think it's a good game.
I think it's a great game.
Yep.
One of the best purchases I ever made at Five Below.
But the fact that they're coming out and saying we'd love to do this,
yeah,
and it
reeks of desperation.
It kind of
does reek of desperation. Of kind of like, hey, give us more contract work, Nintendo. Look, people have interest, and usually if you see a company do that, that's never a good sign, because if you have faith that you could potentially get this project, you're just going to the license holder and saying, hey, we want to bring this, and they say, yeah, let's do it. The fact that they came out like, we'd love to do that, but you have to ask Nintendo. It's kind of like, hey, can you please get us some extra work? And Nintendo's probably has no interest whatsoever in bringing Star Fox Zero to the Switch.
I think Jeff has the right idea here. We can scrap the idea of Star Fox Zero. We just need to remaster Star Fox Adventures.
Oh my god! If they bring Adventures and not Assault, I will riot.
Don't need Star Fox Zero.
Whoa. Star Fox Adventures is a great game.
I like Star Fox Adventures.
I like Adventures, but Assault's better.
I like Adventure and Assault.
I like Adventures. I played Adventures a week or two ago, and you know what? It still looks fine through the GameCube HDMI adapter.
Of course, 60 frames per second.
60, awesome.
60, yeah. Yep.
No loading.
That's at least 30 on the Switch, right?
Assault's just better.
I checked out Sonic Colors. I saw Sonic Colors Ultimate.
You know what they should do?
$30, right?
They should hire Dylan Cuthbert to make a new Star Fox game.
Absolutely.
That's what they should do.
Sure, why not? Why not?
Dylan Cuthbert, he's the man. He makes quality Star Fox.
Look at the super chats as we finish up here. Kevin says, which of these two iconic series has better music overall, Zelda or Final Fantasy? And what's your favorite Zelda and Final Fantasy soundtrack?
Final Fantasy, next question.
Whoa, why? I would say Zelda's more iconic for sure.
That is a tough question.
The Final Fantasy soundtracks are perfection. Every freaking track is gorgeous melodies. You know, I just went and paid for a symphony. I sat there, bawled my eyes out. Sephiroth,
that's pretty iconic theme though, is Sephiroth. That's tough.
We're not going iconic here. We're going best, right? Just best overall.
Yeah.
Well,
Final Fantasy has a range, and I mean a range that you can't. I mean,
I think they all have a range.
Well,
I think Final Fantasy, like the games, all have their own different soundtracks. Sure, Zelda has their own unique to each game, plus reoccurring themes. So I think it varies.
Yeah, but 10 had like the heavy metal.
It did. I love it.
It's just there's a range to Final Fantasy. I think
they've got
like I could hear something uplifting, sad, happy, kind of happy, but a little eerie and creepy, kind of horror-esque, but not really.
Video game music is just like an art form that is underrated, in my opinion. I think a lot of people more people are becoming gamers lately, and they're like, dude, this music slaps. I'm like listening to video game music now, and I'm like, yeah, because it's not bad. Like that's the big thing. It's like it's a tough choice because they're both so good.
Yeah, like I don't hear enough people talk about the Octopath Traveler soundtrack at all.
That soundtrack was so good, people didn't even.
It was too good.
We just acknowledging it.
We don't talk about it. It's too good. Yeah, that's how it is.
I think
you can't look directly at it. Yeah.
But even games like Splatoon, where they have their own made-up language, and all of those tracks are still bangers. Like flat out, I'd go to a concert for that. Like they have the projections and everything. Dude, video game music is wild. Like we live in a great age.
This is from Anime Gaming Nerd saying Nate lied about having a podcast this week.
That lies about everything.
That's on me. I got a little busy this week, so we couldn't have one this week, but we will be back. So
will you? Is that another lie?
Maybe.
Damn,
just lying on. What'll happen first, the podcast or Silent Hill?
Hey, MVG gave us Quake. All right, leave him alone.
MVG stakes
what the hell, man.
MVG stakes were made.
Stakes were made. Indeed, they were.
Sean says, I'm getting into collecting games for Xbox One because many are cheap. Do you think the DRM issues will affect long-term value? Also, buy Metroid Dread.
Xbox One as in the one or the original Xbox?
It just says one, Xbox One. And they mentioned DRM, so.
It has to be the Xbox One.
Yeah. I don't know. That's going to be interesting. Yeah, like 20 years from now, how that Xbox One will react when you. Yeah. I mean, I assume it's still going to work because it's not still be around.
It's not going to work. Well, it's going to be a piece of e-waste. It's not going to do jack.
People will find a way to patch it themselves. So there's actually a couple Dreamcast games that had on-disc DLC that you had to unlock in order to get like super weapons and Skies Arcadia and stuff. And people found a way to like put that raw data on a disc so you could just basically install it for free.
This is from SwiftX Miles saying we still don't know what Pragmata is. Pragmata.
True.
Oh, yeah. Matt says, what Marvel game are you most excited for? Spider-Man 2, Wolverine, or Guardians?
Yes.
Not Guardians.
Not Guardians. Who the hell's excited for Guardians?
I think Guardians would be all right. I'm not overhyped for it, but I'm down to play.
When that showed up at the show, I was like, oh man, not you again.
I know. It's probably the same person who was like, we need more Deathloop in this presentation.
At least we didn't have Far Cry 6 again.
This is the same guy that said put Deathloop in there.
He just keeps.
We forgot Guardians, guys.
I don't know. I don't know. Spider-Man 2 looks great. Wolverine. I think I'm more curious about Wolverine than anything else right now. Is the biggest part. Bagman says, finally playing Ghost Tsushima. Mind blown emoji.
Yay!
Good job. Yep, that is correct. Choice. The correct opinion, Nate.
Mm-hmm. What? It's a good game. I wasn't mind blown.
Good game. I hated it. 9 out of 10.
I wasn't mind blown from it. People were like, "Oh, this introduction is so moving." I played through the introduction. I was like, "What did I?"
When they hit you with the title and everything, you're going through like all the flowers.
Title drop, but it wasn't. People were like crying over it. I was like, what? I think I missed something before this happened.
Okay. I don't know about crying. Chills up the spine.
Chills,
though.
Yeah, you get the chills. Yeah. That was incredible. Really? You didn't feel that, Nate?
No.
Wow. You really are jaded to the industry.
Go back and play your Sayonara Wild Hearts.
That's a fantastic game.
I gotta say, I actually went back.
A good game.
I picked it up and I played it, and Nate, you were absolutely right about that game. It's really damn good. I enjoyed it.
It's
good,
excellent,
but it's not,
excellent soundtrack. Better soundtrack than Zelda or Final Fantasy crap.
Oh my god!
Wow.
It's not the best rhythm game.
What?
It's not the best rhythm game, and I'll stand by that statement.
Wow.
This is from the agent.
Sean's rocking out to a Sayonara Wild Heart.
This is from Jones saying RGT should wear a Trae Young jersey.
Fuck Trae Young. I can't believe they had that son of a bitch on SmackDown at MSG, and they didn't even have like a Nick to come out to fuck with him. Fuck, that was horrible. That's the problem with WWE. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. He's lucky he made it out of there alive.
Tell me how you really feel.
Yeah. They did kick him out of the match.
Yeah, they got the biggest pop of the night.
Amano says worried for recent new staff working on a remaster, changing it from KOTOR for color. I'm not sure what that says. Then Victor says, I'm playing the new Life is Strange and I'm loving it. After being a depressed college student, I'm really loving these games that just gives me joy. And then we have Dare says, can we get a stretch goal on Sean's bet to make him put some Labo together? Also check out The Artful Escape.
Glad Labo died.
You know, I still laugh about because we were talking about the 420 release date of God of War, and I remember Labo came out and God of War. I was playing God of War, loving it, and I look at you uploading a video of you trying to put together paper mache.
I did a live stream.
Yeah, and then an hour later, a video went up, and it was you wearing like the visor, and it was like before you buy.
Yeah,
I think you called it "Do Not Buy Nintendo Labo" or something.
Zoop says Project Eve and Forspoken narratively interest me.
Yep.
Mac Mega says, what will happen first? RGT starts a Halo campaign or Misclick starts a Resident Evil or Metal Gear Solid game?
Probably me, because we're playing Resident Evil 2 in October.
Oh, there we go.
Which
right.
Resident Evil 2?
Oh gosh, Jeffrey.
The remake.
Resident Evil.
Jeffrey says, I enjoyed Yakuza 0, 1, and 2, but I'm struggling with 3 remasters, less refined gameplay. Is it worth playing, or should I skip to 4, 5, or 6? That is a Max question.
So this is my controversial hot take. You can play the Yakuza games in whatever order you want. The stories are so self-contained, and honestly, Kiryu, he ages so well. Even when he's in his 50s in the last games, he's still beating the hell out of everybody. Play him in whatever order you want. I did like 0, 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, and then I went back into 3 and 4 later again. So
Diz says, I learned today if you pre-order Metroid Dread through Walmart, you get a free Metroid coffee mug. Might have to order a second copy so I can sip a nice hot beverage while watching Sean play Balan.
Ain't happening.
Disco says, hey, just wanted to pop in a live show to tell you guys how much I love listening to the podcast version at work. And it really helps my mornings go smoother. Aiden Quinn says, any recent pickups? Who's getting Monkey Ball? I'm getting Monkey Ball. Absolutely.
Me.
Pick that up.
hell yeah.
I bought NBA 2K 2022 and Ultra Age.
I got Tales of Arise.
I just got a retro
Ultra Age.
Ultra Age.
Colors Ultimate on the Switch, and it's still sealed.
I did get this. one.
Oh, nice.
Metal Gear. It's sealed. They have them up on Amazon sealed.
I got it. Well, you should have it graded.
You're sending it to Wada?
Yeah.
Send it to Water.
Yeah, I'm sending it to Wada. Get it graded.
9.8.
I bought a sectional couch, a new bed.
I love that game.
Those things are getting nasty.
A dining room set that'll never get used.
You gotta have the Italian room in your house where you have all the nice furniture and you just don't sit in it or touch it.
Well, I mean, that's gonna be pretty much the dining room. I'm never gonna go in there.
Robert says if Kratos doesn't backflip into the canoe, 0 out of 10. There you go. Fernando says
this boy.
I was so hyped for Metroid Dread that I played Super for the first time and must say it is, as children say, bussin'. Did I say that right? Bussin'?
Bussin'.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bussin'. All right, good. Good. Bussin'.
You didn't say bussy, right?
No, I said bussin'. I said bussin' right here. Right here. I got it.
Evan's just smiling at all these sound bites right now.
Oh, this is great. Trom says, when the Spider-Man 2 trailer first started, I thought it was infamous Sure would be an A if it didn't have Deathloop. Sure would be an A if it didn't. Yeah. Well. Alex says, hey, my only experience with JRPGs is Xenoblade 1, 2, and Persona 5. I love the story-driven JRPGs. Any recommendations based on your favorite?
I'm sorry that those are the only ones you've played.
Well, Tales of Arise just came out, and it's very good. So there you go. Otherwise, Final Fantasy 7.
FF7.
Any of the Final Fantasies for the most part. You can go.
Grandia 2.
I think FF10 might be the best gateway drug.
10's a good one. Yeah, you can get it right on.
I would agree.
Pass. So yeah, there you go. Jump right in. Christopher says Ragnarok is the end of the Norse series. They said so. There won't be another game with Atreus. Angelo says, watch how you. Oh, what? Also, Insomniac games are just incredible. Check Spawn.
Wait, what was the first part?
Yeah.
Now I'm curious.
Watch. It was about Miss Click, and when she's talking about violations, we'll say. Zerloth says 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. It was basically like watch out for sound bites.
Yeah. I had a 7-minute video up there talking about wieners. So
yeah.
The Mass Wiener compilation.
Shinru says, I think it would have been interesting if Marvel had a superhero game for each console. Who should be on Nintendo? Obviously, Hulk for Xbox. Yeah, Microsoft needs to lock up Incredible Hulk. I don't know what that's about. Why they haven't done that yet? That makes sense.
Does anyone like the Hulk?
Yes. Have you played Ultimate Destruction?
Ultimate Destruction's awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
What? You take like a helicopter, or you take cars and turn it into boxing gloves.
Yeah, that's the only good Hulk game, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would. What would Nintendo do?
Squirrel Girl.
They'd take Iron Man and they'd fumble it.
Sony already did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know who Nintendo would. That is a good question, actually. I don't know.
Nintendo would get like Bruce Banner. Not even in Hulk form. He'd just be Bruce Banner.
You can get Ant-Man and the Wasp.
No, it'd be
Ant-Man, but it'd control like a Pikmin game.
No, it would be Hawkeye. There'd be an unlockable Link costume.
There you go. All right. And it would sell 14 million copies somehow. Yep. J2 Blue says, here's to hoping they get Steve Blum for the voice of Insomniac's Wolverine, considering he is the current one for Wolverine. Ruffle says, how long till Ratchet join the MCU? Hear me out, Rocket and Ratchet crossover, or maybe Rock Raccoon in the style of a Ratchet game. Let's go around here as we finish up. Oh, wait a minute. Don't subscribe to Game Pass. Had to chime in. Jeff Grubb is an Xbox fanboy. He isn't reliable. They make a clown emoji. I did not know that. All right. Let's go over to Ryan. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll let everyone know where they can find you.
My YouTube channel. That's all I have.
Mystic Ryan. He's on Twitter too. Don't let him. Yeah, but so short there. He's there.
I tweet occasionally. That's it. Twitter and YouTube. I have a Twitch, but I do not stream. I would like to.
Yeah. He's linked down below in the description. Make sure to check his channel out. He's got you covered on PlayStation stuff every Friday. He's got Let's Talk PlayStation. Goes through all the stuff that's been going on there with Sony. So we'll keep up to date with that. Definitely check. And he's been doing a lot of those videos where you get different games off of eBay and GameStop and stuff, and check them out. Those are always fun to see what people come up with.
I've been on a buying splurge lately. I gotta stop.
And then we have Bongo saying, "Hey Nate and RGT, is Jim Ryan a sussy something?
Baka?
Yeah.
Baka.
There you go.
No.
What did Dog
like a baka?
Nintendo Eric says, for Spider-Man 2, could they take a GTA 5 approach for the multiple characters? SSD can make that fun, just jumping between them pretty quickly. Yeah, that'd be cool. That was the big thing they did for GTA 5. They were like, oh, it's seamless transition between them. It's like, all right, I guess. Aiden Quinn says, random, how many of you are bilingual? I'm not.
Yep.
I'm slightly.
I am bilingual as long as I have Google Translate nearby.
MVG speaks English and Australian.
When Triple H was cutting a promo and he was like, I'm bi a lot of things, but lingual isn't one of them. And he was like, wait, that wasn't right. I didn't mean to say that. That was classic.
How long ago? What was that, like Attitude Era stuff?
It was like mid or early 2010s, maybe. Okay. Late 2000s.
I loved when he looked at Kofi Kingston. He's like, remember when you were Jamaican? And he just had no response. He's like, whoa.
Let's go to Sean. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me on RGT85. I got a couple video reviews going up this week. I might review this Ultra Age game, honestly. I'm actually somewhat enjoying it. Combat's really good. I got a Cruisin' Blast video going up on Tuesday, I believe.
Is that out? That's out next week?
That's out on Tuesday, yeah.
Physical copy. There's a physical copy for that game, right?
Yep, there is.
Oh, I'm picking that up. Yep.
I'm probably gonna snag the physical too. Yeah, who knows what I'll talk about on the channel, but hey, just watch.
Okay.
Wow.
Is that the new bop? I haven't downloaded it yet. I gotta. that's what I'm playing tomorrow.
I've been playing it too. It's good.
Atomic says Metal Gear remake. It will not be ruled by my recessive rumors. Karen says, guys, just wondering what Housemarque is working on. Who knows?
Probably DLC.
They could do whatever they want now.
They're free.
Yeah, we'll see what they come up with. Boogie
Adding the save function to the game.
Anyone buying GTA 5?
I have yet to buy it or play it.
Really? Wait, hold on. You've never
played it.
Well, now's the perfect time.
Nope.
You're one of the people who voted no in my poll.
Yeah.
Oh,
You actually voted in the poll? All right. Yeah, I thought so.
That poll had like 60 some odd thousand votes. You voted, Nate.
No, I didn't vote.
You didn't. One of the answers was just I've never played it before. I'm like, there's no way. This thing's been released so many times. It's on his platform. Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
I know nothing about GTA 5.
This thing's gonna hit the Switch, and all of a sudden, Nate's like, "Wow, I played GTA 5 the other night." And
I just want to play. I just want to play Vice City.
You guys played this game
fair.
called GTA 5? It's
Pretty underground. Pretty low key.
I was wrong about GTA 5.
Yeah. Easy title.
Oh, he says any hype for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl.
Yes.
I seem excited for it. Constance, no message there. Jordan, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Jordan Fringe, putting out, at least 2 to 3 videos a week on, cartoons and shows you remember from the past.
Cade says, you think Sony will expand into Japan again with a first-party studio that isn't run by a Canadian? Who's?
Well, Nicolas Duchesne's French, isn't he?
They're all the same.
Whoa,
we're all the same.
Oh no!
Why is that controversial?
I don't know. That's something you can.
I don't know.
clip.
Ask MVG, okay? Because you keep.
Not my fault. Living a lie.
Bobby says just bought a PS3 to play Metal Gear Solid 4, and I'm wondering what are some other PS3 must plays that aren't on modern consoles. Loving this show, y'all.
Puppeteer.
Puppeteer is very good.
Very expensive now, though.
Is it really?
Resistance Trilogy.
Yes. Puppeteer skyrocketed. It's triple digits.
I got a sealed copy of it, baby.
Puppeteer used to be like $20 at a
You have a
Walmart.
sealed copy of it?
Hell yeah.
The only one.
Get that thing rated. Let's go.
Why didn't you open it and play it, MVG?
Because I'm going to send it to Water and get a 9.8 for it.
Buy a new house.
No, I've played.
Playing the long game.
I played it back in the day, and I found a sealed copy like a couple of years ago, and I snagged it. Awesome game.
Yep, let's go. And Still Alive said, "What is the most you have ever spent on a video game before that you're willing to disclose?" That is, love you guys.
$300.
$200, which was the last of the Dot Hack games. It was quarantine. I paid $200 for it.
I saw that at there's a shop near me that has that right now. I think it's $270, something like that right now.
Could I technically say like 400 for Breath of the Wild?
Yes.
Because the Switch plus the collectors.
No, we're not. No, come on. No hardware. No hardware.
It would only count if you played nothing else on it. Like
I literally didn't for like a month or whatever.
Because there was nothing else to play. What are you gonna play? Super Bomberman R?
That's what the Switch was for. Isn't that the joke? It was a Zelda machine.
Yeah. If we're talking like that, I technically spent $500 on Shenmue 3, but I don't like to count it because I broke it up among a Kickstarter and all that.
I'm trying to think recently. It might have been Gotcha Force on the GameCube.
$300. Spider-Man Web of Fire. Now it's worth like $1,500.
Well, I'll say my Gotcha Force was like $1,500.
Yeah,
that's expensive, Sean.
But it's actually a rare game.
Yeah.
Klonoa games.
I do. I don't have all of them. I've got a couple of them though.
You're sitting on like $3,000.
Man.
Yeah, Klonoa on Wii is worth a lot now.
Jeez.
Yep,
Is it really?
I have it.
PS1 game.
Yeah,
It's $1,500, I think.
Wow. I'm 90% sure I own it.
Marky says Microsoft could have outbid Sony for Insomniac.
Maybe.
I feel like Insomniac wanted to go with Sony though. They've built that.
Yeah, they had a
long-standing
relationship with Sony. They tried to go their third-party route. Things didn't go that well between Microsoft and Insomniac with Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah.
So they probably weren't too eager to fall under Microsoft's umbrella.
Max, where can everyone find you?
YouTube.com/Dreamcast guy. I got 3 big reviews coming out next week: Cruis'n Blast, Deathloop, and one game for some reason I'm not even allowed to say, but it's a game that I've talked a lot about that I'm very hyped for. So I could talk about all 3 of those. It's gonna be crazy.
Is it Silent Hill?
Yes, of course. Yes.
Sorter says one gotta go: God of War, Ragnarok, Elden Ring, or Breath of the Wild 2.
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
I feel like everyone's throwing Elden Ring under the bus.
What the hell?
I think that's an
easy decision.
That was quick. Everyone's like, yeah, Elden Ring, that's out.
I'm throwing Ragnarok.
Whoa. Interesting.
Yeah. Hot take, I might do that as well. I'm very excited for Elden Ring.
Ragnarok, huh? Wow.
Well, remember, I wasn't that high on God of War.
That's true. You can't jump. Nate was like, that was the first thing he said.
He wasn't a big fan. 9 out of 10.
He didn't jump. That by default already brought the game down a whole point.
9 out of 10.
I like God of War way
That's
too much.
Point.
That God of War's got to stay on the bus. Elden Ring might get kicked out the back door. I might have to. What are you kicking out, Ryan?
Dude, I've been thinking the whole time. I don't know.
I know you want to say Breath of the Wild, don't you? Go ahead and kick it out.
No. Although, to be fair, I didn't spend that much time with it.
Oh, okay.
I think for like 40 hours maybe, and you could spend hundreds of hours with it.
That's tough. I had to play Elden Ring still. That's the problem, because the other 2, it's like I kind of know what they're gonna be.
All I know is Jeff Grubb is in my corner on this, so I have good company.
Wow.
The rest of you
guys just throwing God of War Ragnarok. God of War just only wins Game of the Year when it comes out, and you guys are throwing away the sequel already.
No big deal.
Interesting. Okay. Voxel says, friendly reminder.
What if Elden Ring wins Game of the Year?
It might.
You all threw it out immediately.
Hold on. You're saying that Elden Ring could win Game of the Year in a year where we have Horizon, God of War, and then Breath of the Wild 2.
Maybe God of War.
Hold on. I mean, don't we normally do like the parenthesis, like with what we know right now?
Yes.
Because what we know right now, like that's the context. Obviously, we've seen more of the other 2 than Elden Ring. Maybe that changes. Very, very slim chance, but it's still possible. But right now,
Elden Ring to the curb.
Voxel says, friendly reminder, Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker out in 2 months. Disco says, problem is people are spoiled beyond belief with entertainment in general these days. We expect almost perfection with everything that releases.
Yep.
Reckle says, any Diablo 4 hype?
Yes.
Marky says,
Diablo 2 remaster.
Fuck Activision.
Marky says, Project Eve or God of War? I'm going God of War. Iol says, hi everyone, hope you're all well. Would you consider Star Citizen a scam? I mean, they've released a product, haven't they? Like it's out there,
and they're still updating it. They definitely bit off way more than they could chew with it. They're just flailing at this point, but it's not like they were like, hey, money, and then they left a lot.
Half a billion, I think. Right?
Oh my gosh!
Their last reported number was like 450 million, and I saw something of like they may have another 500 million that's not publicly reported, so it may be nearly $1 billion.
Yes. Oh my god!
I watch a lot
Seems
of
like a very elaborate scam.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool videos inside of that like games world. I do find it very fascinating. I don't think I can ever like pick it up and get into it, but I will say there's some cool stuff in there.
I picked it up for $30, but like. There's so much there that could be good if they could just actually do it.
Joan says a lot of people are now saying Xbox needs their own superhero game. And which IP and studio would you want to see them make it true? I still think the Hulk, but I'm just go with any of them really.
What was the question again?
Xbox, they need their own superhero game. Do you agree? In which IP and studio?
They could get Deadpool maybe.
Deadpool will be all right. That'd be cool. Louis says chances of Half-Life Alyx coming to PlayStation VR 2. I think that has to be. I almost think it has to be a launch title.
I think it's high.
Yeah, I would say so. I think that's going to be a thing. And Tony says, what is your favorite Mario Kart item? The 3 red shells.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Blue
the red
shell.
shells.
Blue shell, get wrecked.
I like the sound
If
box.
if you get a blue shell, you're not doing very good.
What was I need to get? I need to get
Well, no, it's my
rubber banding code's kicking in.
oh.
click.
Yeah, is there anything
If
other
you're
than
using
coins
blue
and green
shells, you're not
shells?
doing very well.
Are there any others than coins and green shells? Those are all I usually get. I'm sorry.
Don't no coin out of here. Get coin out.
Maybe one banana.
MVG, where can everyone find you?
Thank you for having me on. You can find me on Twitter at Modern Vintage G and on YouTube at Modern Vintage Gamer. On the topic of PlayStation, I'm doing a PlayStation 4 emulator video. So there's a PS4 emulator that just came out that's starting to play commercial games. So
What?
I'm
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
So check out my video on Monday. It's pretty interesting. Thanks for having me on.
Frankie says, any thoughts or guesses on Final Fantasy VII Remake coming to PC? Like,
Yeah,
rate included.
Soon.
It's definitely real. It got leaked on the Epic Game Store, so it seems like it definitely exists.
Yeah, it would have been announced already if Sony didn't extend the exclusivity clause after they got the whatever the hell they named this.
Intergrade.
Intergrade. That pushed the exclusivity deal until December, so could be announced for PC at like the Video Game Awards if the dates exist.
Lux says, watching Miss Click laugh at people questioning her laughter made my night. There you go. Vegas says, Crash Pinata and Hammer, new Crash 25, Smash.
Yeah, Wumpa League. It's a will they, won't they. There was a lot of hints for it to be, shown off at the event, but it wasn't.
Jeff Grubbs, Sussy Baka says, so can we please get a true Avengers game from Insomniac? They are literally on a roll. Lux says, now I just paid $20 just cause. Jack says, for Miss Click. And then T-Joe says, been watching you for years. Mystic, I love how you're a PlayStation focused channel without being a fanboy channel. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Jeff Grubb says, great show. Whatever and everything. What was your favorite PlayStation launch? Mine was the PS2. Most excited I have ever been for a console. By the way, I named my son Aurorus after, I think they're trying to say Atreus after God of War.
Should have named him PlayStation.
Atreus. Yeah, very good. Yeah, the PS2 was pretty hype. When I was coming out, that was a big deal. So that was for PlayStation, that was probably it. Yeah.
I think the original Xbox or the Wii. I was really weirdly excited for the Wii.
Well, they said what's your favorite PlayStation launch?
Oh man, I'm brain fried. Yeah, okay. Wii is my favorite PlayStation. The PS4. PS4 is the only one I did the midnight launch for.
Lux says, yay, Ryan. Loco says, there's no way Insomniac is doing this type of output without some form of crunch, either in studio or outsourcing. They've said several times that the different developers said they don't crunch like you expect them to. So, I mean, I'm sure there's still late nights, but it doesn't sound like it's some of the horror stories we've heard before.
How big is their team?
It's like 450 employees, I think is what it says.
Okay.
Karen says, I'm super curious if you guys watch anime and which one is your favorite?
No. I'm obsessed with a lot of the 90s stuff. Dragon Ball. I rewatched Cowboy Bebop. God, Cowboy Bebop is perfection.
Yeah, I like Yu Yu Hakusho a lot.
I got Jordan. Let's click. I got you, right? Click. You did your outro.
No.
Click. You did your outro. Good. Where can everyone find you?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, you can find me here on YouTube as Misclick Gaming, or you can find me where I'm live almost every day on Twitch at Misclick_live. Mass Effect's over, so we're kind of filling the void until Dread and Kenna and everything comes out. So we might be just doing some random fun stuff with the community for a little bit. Other than that, you can find me on Instagram or on Twitter as Misclick. I'm pretty active there, so come hang out. But yeah.
And then we have a few over on Streamlabs. Stud Muffin says, just stopping to say hi. Liam says, do you think Nintendo will ever release past Smash Brothers games? The only time they ever have in the past was Smash 64 on Virtual Console, and even then they didn't even make it to the Wii U. It's just on the Wii. Brawl HD would be great. I don't know what's happened with Smash after this one. It's going to be an interesting thing to follow. Then Studmuff says, could it be, will OJ finally be on the SpawnCast tonight? OJ is actually not on. He's on vacation. So
yeah.
Staycation.
Staycation, but yeah. He's taking some time. Just kind of relaxing. And Studmuff says, Dreamcast guy showing off those games. Keep it up, bro.
Thank you. Yeah, I was actually during this. Stud Muffin does some very not safe for work art. When I did that picture of Lady Dimitris squeezed between her boobs, that was drawn by him.
Oh my god.
Sir Rich says, "How are you liking the standing desk, Jordan? Misclick, what kind of keyboard do you use? You guys are awesome."
Yeah, I love the standing desk. I stand all the time now.
Fair enough.
As far as keyboard, my main one is a Corsair, the K95 with the hotkeys, and then my secondary one is I think it's just like Royal Kludge, like a 60% from Amazon. I actually really like the 60% keyboards because they're so tiny and cute. But yeah.
And Pug says, "Is OJ here again?" And then Shinra says, "Evening, everyone. MVG, any PS2 games you would like to work on to bring back to modern day consoles? I've seen people play a PS2 game called God Hand. Looks fun, but costs way too much to buy."
God Hand would be a great game to bring back and remake. It's a classic. But for me, and I'm not trolling, I would love to do Silent Hill 2. That would be my pick.
Then Shinru says, instead of Balin, RG should play either Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Ride to Hell, or Sonic 06. There you go.
I would play Ride to Hell.
I unironically think Balin is worse than those games. I honestly think Balin might be one of the worst games I've ever beaten.
Oh no.
At least you get laid in Ride to Hell.
Do you really though? They wear their clothes.
I mean,
in Sonic
they dry hump.
Nate, where can everyone find you?
They can find me on YouTube at Nate the Hate or Twitter at Nate the Hate, followed by the number 2. MVG and myself will have a podcast this week, maybe even 2 podcasts this week, depending on when we get the first podcast up. So a lot to look forward to this week on the channel.
Okay, and then Evan.
Oh, you can find me at a convention tomorrow, actually. First Date Comic Con. It's going to be small, so I doubt anyone in chat's going to be able to get there. But other than that, you can find me on Twitter at Kimrick's Project, where I actually post the projects, the work I'm doing for it. Like, I just did an Omni-Man yesterday on stream. So that was kind of fun. Yeah.
Convention season coming up.
Oh, yeah.
SpawnCast going to be live here soon.
Will you sign my, I don't know, my game if I bring it?
You talking to MVG for Quake or something? Like, what's happening?
No, if I go to your convention, I bring like a tall geese model. Will you sign it?
I mean, I can if you want to ruin it. Sure.
Sure, I'll sign it for you. I'll sign it for you. That's fine.
Sign Lolina.
Yeah.
Oh,
Everyone, come on.
Bring some hot dogs.
We're doing too many games in less than a month now, so it's exciting stuff. We'll have a
I'm not
live
bringing
podcast.
hot wieners to a convention.
Okay. Anyway. Okay. I think that's everything for tonight. Thanks everyone for joining us. It was a fun SpawnCast. We'll see you guys next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Think for yourself.
Question authority.